Some of the greatest quarterbacks in WVU history: Jeff Hostetler, Jake Kelchner, Jared Brown, Rasheed Marshall, and Pat White are in Morgantown this weekend, and they'll get to see two of the nation's best, Matt Schiltz of Bowling Green and Geno Smith of West Virginia, who will square off this afternoon in Morgantown. Good afternoon. Welcome to Mountaineer Field at Milan Pushkar Stadium. A pair of 3-1 teams with prolific offenses set to do battle. Bowling Green visiting number 22, West Virginia, alongside former Mountaineer star and NFL stalwart John Thornton. I'm Rob King. John, Bowling Green knows something about upsets. Meanwhile, the Mountaineers coming off a big emotional game against LSU. Is that a danger for them, perhaps, that they will be a little bit down, a little flat in this game? Yeah, there's no way you can replace the emotion that they had last week against LSU, but what they have to do is come out and execute better than they did against LSU. Don't worry about the emotion part. Come out and play better, and they'll be fine. The Falcons are led by quarterback Matt Schiltz, who started last year as a sophomore. The junior now leads the entire nation with 14 touchdown passes. Yeah, the thing about Schiltz, he's very impressive when he gets out on the edges of defense. He's very accurate when he gets to move around. The Mountaineers want to keep him in the pocket with their defensive ends, but if he gets on the edge, he's going to be dangerous. Matt Schiltz off to an excellent start. The same can be said of Geno Smith, who is number 3 in the nation in passing yardage. Yes, Geno's done a great job this year. I mean, 3 really good games in a row. The receivers have to do a better job of holding on to the ball. He's putting the ball in the money. I mean, he's leading his team the way Dana wants him to lead it. He studies well, but the guys have to come out and start well. Bowling Green since 2003 has 3 upsets over top 25 teams. Since 2001, more victories against non-conference teams than any team in the MAC. Geno Smith looking to build off his big game against LSU. Those 2 teams squaring off next.
My home ain't much, but with the Watch ESPN app, I could stream one game on my iPad when there's another on the tube. Shoot, all I'm missing is a sofa, a bed, toothpaste, deodorant, someone to tell me I need deodorant, a floor.
Watch ESPN.com and the Watch ESPN app. The ESPN networks, live anywhere.
Monday, Dwight Freeney and Robert Mathis will look to bring the heat as Josh Freeman and the Rising Bucks fight for the division lead. ESPN Monday Night Football, Colts Buccaneers at 8:30.
Countdown's now at 10 a.m.
We'll be here 3 hours before kickoff.
The best analysis and the hottest stories from the team you want to hear from.
This is a football team that definitely could take the next step.
Sunday NFL Countdown now at 10 a.m. on ESPN.
Aaron Studstill, Jake Kelchner, Chad Johnston.
Welcome back to Mountaineer Field, and number 22 West Virginia getting set to host Bowling Green. Bowling Green just 1 point away from being unbeaten, had an extra point block that could have tied Wyoming late in that game. And you look at the weather, and John, this could certainly be a factor in this game. Anytime you see weather like this, you figure maybe it benefits the team that's the underdog, so maybe Bowling Green gets the advantage today with the weather. Yeah, definitely coming in. It's a cold day, it's a rainy day, and the Mountaineers have an offense that, requires precision. A lot of passing, 65 passes last week. So if this was a running offense, I would say favors the Mountaineers, but it has to favor Bowling Green early on. They're led by Dave Clawson in his 3rd season at Bowling Green. Twice the 1AA Coach of the Year, has a reputation for rebuilding programs. We talked about some of the quarterbacks in the open, including that guy who's the athletic director. Oliver Luck went on to play 4 years in the NFL and, of course, had a great career here at West Virginia. Pat White, some of the other great West Virginia quarterbacks. And there's Dana Holgorsen, who's got a pretty good one in Geno Smith. And Dana Holgorsen bringing this wide-open style here, replacing Bill Stewart as the head coach. Yeah, and they have a very prolific passing attack. But you saw those former quarterbacks. A lot of those guys ran the option. Pat White, Major Harris was probably the best one ever to play here. So it's a great weekend for quarterbacks here at Mountaineer Field. Let's take a look at the keys for each team heading into this game this afternoon here at Mountaineer Field, beginning with the Bowling Green Falcons, and they want to limit the turnovers and limit the big plays. They know of the athleticism of West Virginia. They want to make sure that the Mountaineers have to earn their way down the field.
Yeah, you want to make them earn it. You want to force the Mountaineers into making mistakes like LSU did last week. So if you're Bowling Green, you're hoping that Gino isn't hitting a 60-yard pass or they're not getting the running game going.
And again, turnovers can be a factor, especially with this weather. As for West Virginia, they really have not gotten any kind of run game going. And this defense that was so good, one of the best in the nation a year ago, has not created a lot of turnovers.
Yeah, when you don't get the running game going, you're putting a lot of pressure on Geno Smith to be exact with his passes, and you can't have the turnovers that they have. But the defense, they haven't played well. The coaches are worried about the run defense, which hasn't been as good as it's been in the last 3 or 4 years.
Mountaineers getting set to kick off. That's Corey Smith back deep. Is Boo Boo Gates on the Paul Hornung watch list as one of the most versatile players in the country. And we are getting set to go, and here's the boot, and we're underway. And it's going to be taken by Gates. Gates crossing the 20, finds some room. And Boo Boo Gates loses the football. West Virginia pounces on it with the recovery, and West Virginia gets it on the turnover. Corey Smith was in there. Not sure if it was Smith who got it. It looks like it's Travis Bell who came up with a fumble recovery.
Dana Holgorsen told us yesterday that he put a lot of starters on the kickoff unit because of what happened last week against LSU, and hopefully that would produce better results.
Well, Gates had a big hole here, but coughed it up late on the hit, and Dustin Garrison in the starting backfield next to I almost said Pat White, next to Geno Smith. And here's the handoff to Garrison. Finding some room off the left side, banged out of bounds after a pickup of nearly 6 or 7 on first down. Rylan Ward with the stop, but a nice run on first down. This Mountaineer team just has not been able to establish that running game.
Yeah, and part of it has been the young running backs, you know, not being patient and not finding the right holes. The holes have been there, but these guys have run into blockers a lot.
Smith has a wide open receiver. It's Tyler Urban, and Urban picks up first down yardage, gets inside the 20.
And Tyler should be a big part of this offense, with receivers getting a lot of attention early on. Everybody's going to forget about Tyler. He's a 6'5" tight end that can be definitely, he can be a target in the red zone.
West Virginia coming out fast-paced, looking to get snaps off quickly. Give to Garrison again. Finds some room once again in the middle of that defense, and will pick up another 5 yards before Dwayne Woods makes the stop.
And with this, you know, at least attempting to run the ball, this will give the defense rest today. You know, you're not going to have them on the field all day, but this will also, like I said, take the pressure off of Geno Smith in the passing game.
2nd and 5. In and out of the hands of Ivan McCartney. Well-delivered balls. We take a look at the starting offense for the West Virginia Mountaineers, and hanging on to the football, a problem last week for them. Garrison in, starting at the wide receiver, or at the running back position, and you see the rest of the starters there as well for the skill positions, and then the offensive line led by Joe Madsen at that center position. Sean Alston has checked into the game for the Mountaineers at running back. Smith sets up the screen underneath. That was well defensed, well read. It was intended for Stedman Bailey. Will be incomplete, and the field goal unit will come on. A little pushing and shoving after the play. Here's the Bowling Green defense. Kevin Moore, Chris Jones, Ted Willett, and Ronnie Goebel along the front of a 4-2-5 defense. Swan and Woods are the linebackers, and here are the 5 defensive backs as well, as Tyler Bittenkirk comes on to try a 30-yard field goal attempt.
And they run that 4-2-5, a lot of blitzing, a lot of 5-man pressures coming at Geno Smith today.
And the boot is up, and the boot is good. So Bittenkirk gives West Virginia a 3-0 lead. They're able to capitalize on the turnover. I'm sure they were looking for more than that. And if you're Bowling Green, you probably have to feel pretty good, not about fumbling that kickoff, but about keeping the Mountaineers out of the end zone.
Yeah, you do. If you're Bowling Green, you feel real good about that. But the Mountaineers at least got 3 points out of this on a drive that was supposed to be Bowling Green's drive, and they got some good plays in the run game. So it's a good start, I think, for both teams.
We mentioned all the quarterbacks coming back. The mascots have come back too. A lot of returning. The quarterbacks back. We saw the alumni band, and there's some of the old West Virginia mascots as well, following that 6-play, 26-yard drive for the Mountaineers that puts them up by a score of 3-0.
And on that first kickoff return, you know, Bowling Green got the ball out pretty far. And the Mountaineers, like I said, they put more starters on this unit trying to stop the big returns. They still got a good return, but they have to, you know, stay in their running lanes more often.
And you have to wonder about guys like Boo Boo Gates, Dwayne Woods, guys who really feel like they could be playing at bigger programs, maybe feeling they have to prove too much early on in a game like this.
A lot of times with smaller schools, when you step up in a class like Coach Clausen was talking about, he didn't want his guys to be overexcited to come out and do things they normally don't do.
Smith with the boot, and it'll be Gates again. He'll take it to the 5. And Gates finds some room again. And Boo Boo Gates is in the clear. Able to elude Smith. Down to the 30. And Boo Boo Gates inside the 20 down to the 18-yard line of West Virginia. So he fumbled the first one on a nice return. This time he hangs on and returns it inside the West Virginia 20.
And just like we talked about, they had good return yardage on the first one, just fumbled. And this one, they came out again, got a good crease, and the back hit it. So the Mountaineers put more starters on his unit, and it seemed like it's not working.
Ian Smith had to drag him down inside the 20-yard line, but a great return for Boo Boo Gates. And Matt Schultz will get onto the field for the first time. He was expecting to get out here, about a minute and a half ago, game clock-wise, but the fumble, and this is his first snap. Jordan Hopgood is in starting sidecar to the left. We'll talk more about the running back situation for the Falcons in a moment. Schultz fakes. Looking, man wide open, touchdown, one play for Bowling Green, and it is Ray Hudson who comes up with the 18-yard grab, and Bowling Green needs just one play to take the lead 6-3.
And that was poor defense by the Mountaineers. They got fooled by the play-action pass, and they left the guy wide open over the middle, nobody around him.
Hudson had the big touchdown that appeared to be the tying touchdown against Wyoming, but extra points have been a real issue. They have missed 4 kicks, have the Falcons, including one that would have tied it against Wyoming after that Hudson touchdown. This time Stein is true. Steve Stein puts Bowling Green up by a score of 7-3. So just under 2 minutes left. We've already seen 2 scores. Bowling Green up 7-3 after the Schultz hookup with Hudson. Two generations of West Virginia mascot, perhaps a third, the young man there standing in front, and Bowling Green Falcons leading by a score of 7-3. Ray Hudson gets a touchdown pass. Dana Holgerson looking on. I'm sure not pleased with the one-play 18-yard drive. Hudson, by the way, Eugene Binky Cooper, one of the leading receivers for Bowling Green. We learned just prior to kickoff that he would not be able to play in today's game. Hudson thrust into the starting lineup, and it's Hudson who comes up with a touchdown catch.
Big play. You know, Bowling Green's had a great start. We talked about this in the open. Would this weather affect Mountaineers or the Bowling Green Falcons? And it seems like it's affecting Mountaineers more.
Tavon Austin will gather at his own 14. And Austin will cross the 30. Good return out to the 33-yard line. So West Virginia will have good field position after that kick return by Tavon Austin.
And a lot of times after a big game like West Virginia played last week, I know we'll keep talking about that, but the emotion isn't there, so you got to come out and execute. And it just seems like it's going to take the Mountaineers a long time to really get fired up like they were last week.
Need to be careful. This is a very capable, explosive offense for the Bowling Green Falcons. Smith gives to Garrison. Nice cutback, and Garrison will pick up about 6 yards on that first down run before Aaron Foster can make the stop. They're going into hurry-up mode here as we take a look at Garrison's first down run. And quickly out to the flat and into and out of the hands of Garrison. So they hand it to him and try to catch him out on the flat, and Garrison unable to hang on.
And that ball came out of Gino's hand and looked very wobbly, and the receiver couldn't hold on to it. So you're starting to see some of the effects of the weather out here.
It's been a steady rain throughout the day. Harder than at other times. Right now, sort of a misting rain falling here at Mountaineer Field. Third down. Smith on the draw, the give to Garrison, and Garrison wrapped up, and he's going to be stopped short of the first down. Penalty flag on the play. Cameron Truss, we weren't sure if we were going to see him, and DJ Lynch in on the stop.
And it looks like Bowling Green, they didn't blitz on that play, so they're sitting back in coverage a little more. They're probably noticing the weather is affecting the Mountaineers, so they're going to make them beat them.
So whatever the flag was, Bowling Green elected not to take it, and so the Mountaineers will have to kick it away. Corey Smith back to kick, and Boo Boo Gates back deep to receive for the Falcons. And a short kick by Smith, and it's just barely going to cross midfield, it looks like, and it's going to be, oh, the Boo Bird's out already on that punt, and it is going to be excellent field position for the Falcons once again.
I think one of the things to watch is if this punter is out there the next time, because Dana said in the meeting yesterday that if he had another bad kick, that he would replace him. So I'm interested to see what Dana does after this one.
Well, that was certainly not a good kick by Corey Smith, and the Falcons will take over at the 45-yard line. So excellent field position for Bowling Green, which needed just one play to score on their first possession.
And when you're coming into an environment like this, you want to have this kind of start on both sides of the ball and on special teams. They're all playing well.
Schultz will change the play, and now the Falcons redeploy. Schultz looking, has a man underneath. It's complete, and it is going to be enough for first down yardage to Kamar Jordan as he crosses the 45-yard line. Casey Vance in the stop as we take a look at Bowling Green starters. They scored so quickly we didn't have a chance to highlight them. You can see the starters there. We told you Hudson in place of Cooper Hopgood starting at running back. Not sure if we're going to see Anton Samuel. Ben Boychich is one of the best offensive linemen in the country. 3 times he's been on the Remington watch list. Coach Clausen telling us he coached at Tennessee. He would have started. Boychich would have at Tennessee. Now Hopgood finds some room off the left side, and he'll pick up about 4 before Pat Miller makes the stop. And let's take a look at the Mountaineers starting defense. And it's Julian Miller, George Wright, and Bruce Irvin up front. The linebacking core, Najee Good, Juwan Snow will be starting. Doug Rigg is hurt, so Najee Good being moved outside. Snow will start in the middle. Josh Francis, and then Tandy, Garvin, Smith, Cook, and Miller in this 3-3-5 defensive alignment for Jeff Castile, the defensive coordinator of the Mountaineers. Empty set. Schill sets up the screen underneath, and it is into and out of the hands of Adrian Hodges.
And Jeff Castile talked about how he wanted this unit to be more consistent, more like they have been over the past few years, but he's having a problem getting this group executing the right defenses, making tackles, and not giving up big plays.
Only 4 starters back from a year ago. One of the best defenses in the country.
And they really had good defense here for a long time. So Castile, he isn't just saying it was last year. They really, been playing good run defense for a long time around here. And the guys this year have just been slow to pick everything up.
3rd and 5. The slant underneath, and it is caught. Tandy in coverage, but it is Joplin who comes down with a reception and a first down for Bowling Green down to the 32-yard line.
They're taking advantage of it. It looked like they're playing man-to-man on the outside. He just ran a quick slant, only had 5 yards to go, and the cornerback looked like he was way off on him.
Well, Matt Schultz was banged up last year. It affected his numbers his sophomore season. It looks like Joplin a little banged up there, but Coach Dave Clausen telling us he's really impressed with the way Schultz has picked up this offense and running it with authority here now in his 2nd year as a starter. Give to Jamel Martin. The freshman finds a big hole off the left side, and he'll pick up first down yardage, crossing the 20 and getting down close to the 19-yard line. So Jamel Martin, another one that Dave Clausen very high on, picks up a big gainer there before he's stopped by Darwin Cook.
And when we talked to Coach Clausen earlier in the week, he mentioned Martin and how he would get more carries this game, and he was very impressed with him and how he's played this season.
A redshirt freshman. Hopgood is a sophomore. Anton Samuel, again, we're not sure whether we'll see him or not. He's banged up with an ankle injury. He's a freshman. And Samuel is their leading rusher, averaging 107 yards a game. And he feels very good, Dave Clausen does, about this stable of backs. Hopgood and Martin expected to see most of the action today. First down, Schultz timing pattern, and well delivered to Hudson. Picks up about 7 yards, maybe 8 down to the 12-yard line.
And when we asked Coach Clausen how to describe his offense, he said it was like a multiple West Coast style offense. They bring in 3 tight ends at times. They run the spread at times. They change about a quarter, he said. So the Mountaineers, they have to really identify what they're doing, because they're going to come back to these plays later in the game.
Well, they've seen a lot of different looks so far early on. That a beautifully timed timing pattern there from Schultz to Hudson. Hudson in motion. Give to Martin off the left side. Martin will cross the 10 and looks like he's going to have first down yardage down to the 9-yard line. And another impressive looking drive. The first one was very impressive, one play 18 yards. But this one, the Falcons really putting together a nice drive after starting off in great field position. Yeah, and you see the offensive line getting good push, and the Mountaineers have to settle down defensively because Bowling Green's having their 15-play script to start the game. They're going to see which plays are working, which ones aren't, and Jeff Castillo's probably going to have to bring more pressure to get some negative plays. And inside the 10-yard line, the Mountaineer faithful on their feet now trying to make some noise. Schultz on the reverse, and they're going to look to throw, and there's a man wide open, and into and out of the hands. It hung too long in the air. Bayer had it in his hands, but Keith Candy had enough time to react and knock it out of there.
This was an excellent play that Bowling Green drew up. Pressure in his face. He threw it a little too high. It's like an alley-oop, and it gave the DB enough time to get there and knock it out.
Boy, if you're Dave Clausen, this is the kind of play you can't run too often. The perfect time, the perfect call, receiver wide open, and it doesn't convert. Second and goal from the 9. Schultz will look over and get the new play call. Gives to Martin. Martin met as he crosses the 6-yard line, gets down inside the 5 into the 4. Terrence Garvin hit him head on, but Martin showing the ability to pick up a couple more yards after contact.
He looks like a powerful runner once he gets inside the tackles right here. Mountaineers doing a good job of game tackling, but they're going to have to stand up, hold this team to a field goal right here, or this is going to be a very surprising start by the Bowling Green Falcons.
Schultz. As Martin to his left. 2 receivers split each side on a 3rd and goal. Schultz looking back at the end zone, in and out of the hands of Jordan with Tandy in good coverage, and so Bowling Green will be forced into a field goal attempt.
And that was similar to what we saw last time we were here. The Mountaineers gave a big trick play, held them to a field goal, allowed the offense time to get back into it. So maybe this stop right here will key the Mountaineer offense later on.
And it's Steve Stein who has taken over the kicking duties. I mentioned their extra point difficulty. Stein has come on now, taking over for Kyle Burkhart, handling the kicking chores. And his kick is up, and his kick is good, and Bowling Green's lead is 7. They lead 10-3 early on in the first quarter. 7:47 remaining. Falcons looking to spring an upset on the road. Back at Mountaineer Field in Morgantown, West Virginia. And the Mountaineers find themselves trailing 10-3 with 7:47 remaining in the first quarter following an 11-play, 52-yard drive. That was capped off by the Stein 21-yard field goal. Took 4 minutes and 14 seconds, and Bowling Green has come out here, looked very impressive early on. And John, you mentioned the Norfolk State game where you and I had that call of that game. Norfolk State was up 12-10 at the half. The Mountaineers played an almost flawless second half and wound up winning that game by the score of 55-12. But this Bowling Green team is better than Norfolk State. They need to get it into gear here quickly. Yeah,
they had better players than Norfolk State did, and Mountaineers, they wore Norfolk State down at that game. They can't have this kind of start because, like you said, Bowling Green is a good team.
Broderick Jenkins on the return. Carries out across the 30 to about the 31-yard line.
And other than the fumble on the opening kickoff, Bowling Green has been able to do whatever they want to do. And I know teams start out and they have the plays that they like to run. But defensively, Bowling Green has played well. Offensively, they play well. On special teams, they had 2 big returns. So, now it's time to see how the Mountaineers respond. Garrison remains in at the running back position for the Mountaineers. Sidecar to the right of Geno Smith. Give to Garrison. Garrison is taken down by Chris Jones, who is engaged but may have grabbed a little face mask to get him down.
Tackle by Chris Jones.
I wonder if he grabbed his face mask or if it was just grabbing around his neck or not.
There is no foul for a face mask.
So no face mask.
Must have grabbed him around the neck. And that, again, that was a poor cut by the running back because the lineman had the defensive guy blocked, and he went right into the block.
Smith back. flushed now, and he's going to have to throw it away. So Bowling Green gets the nice stop from Chris Jones on first down, then a little late pressure on Geno Smith here on second down, and it's a 3rd and 10.
And with the inability to run the ball, now you're going to force Geno Smith to have to come out and have one of these big games passing. And Bowling Green has a good front. They like to twist and stun up front to get pressure, and that's what it looked like they did on that play right there.
And it's a team that had 6 sacks a week ago against Miami, springing an upset over Miami in that game in their MAC conference opener. Playing with some confidence early on at Mountaineer Field. Smith back has all kinds of time, surveying the field, can't find anybody open. And now will fire late along the sideline and over the top in coverage intended for Tavon Austin. We are going to get a pass interference call on Gabe Martin.
And when you watch film on Bowling Green, they ran a lot of 4, 5-man pressures, and it looks like now they're rushing 3 men, dropping guys back into coverage, making Geno Smith try to find guys open down the field, and he's having time to throw the ball, but guys aren't open because there's so many guys back in coverage.
Jeff McGonigal, the referee, will make the call.
There are multiple fouls in play, both on the defensive team. Pass interference. Defense, number 36. That penalty decline. Personal foul. Working the passer. Number 6 on the defense. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
And that's DJ Lynch who's going to get whistled for the 15-yarder.
And you see the 3-man rush. It's very hard to do as a defense. You know, try to get a rush with 3 men, and guys are plastered down the field in coverage, and luckily they got a pass interference call.
When they had their pick of infractions there, they take the 15-yarder on Lynch, the pass rushing special. It's a freshman, very, very young Bowling Green team under head coach Dave Clawson. Nearly 75% of their players either freshmen or sophomores. Give to Garrison. Garrison, nice move. Garrison crosses midfield, and Garrison will pick up about 9 yards on that first down run.
That was a good job by Garrison of taking the run outside, allowing the blockers to get on their guys, and then he put his foot in the ground, cut it right back upfield, picked up about 9 yards.
Brings up a 2nd and 1. Give to Garrison again. And Garrison, a nice move, will cross the 35 and get down to the 33-yard line. And early on, John, this is about as good as this West Virginia rushing attack has looked all season.
Yes, it has, and maybe the weather is forcing the Mountaineers to run the ball, and then maybe this will help them out later in the season, but right now the passing game looks to be slowed by the weather, so the running game has to bail them out.
And it looks like Kevin Moore, the defensive end, I don't know if that's a cramp or what it is, but he went down, and now he's going to be attended to. Garrison, by the way, 7 carries for 42 yards. Had an unbelievable season down in Texas last year. Set state records in rushing attempts, rushing yardage, touchdowns. 46 touchdowns as a senior last year for Dustin Garrison. Lightly recruited, came in, has put on some weight, and he's in that battle with Andrew Bowie, who's banged up in this game, and Bernard Roberts. The 3 freshmen have been largely splitting the carries here for the Mountaineers as we see Kevin Moore able to get off the field under his own power.
Yes, Garrison, very talented runner, but the thing about young running backs, they have to learn patience and how to set up blocks for their offensive linemen so the holes can grow for them. So, you know, like I said, maybe this game will help the guys get their run game going.
You heard some oohs from the crowd, some boos mixed with those oohs, who thought maybe last week LSU was feigning some injuries. That seemed to be the thought of some of the local populace here. And so the first injury here has drawn a smattering of boos. Smith, play action pass, looking on the deep cross to McCartney. Touchdown, West Virginia. A beautiful throw, 33 yards from Geno Smith to Ivan McCartney, and the Mountaineers an extra point away from tying it up.
And he got a couple of good runs, so the safeties had to respect the play action fake, and they allowed the receiver to get deep. Nice catch, touchdown. Geno threw a nice ball, nice spiral, allowing the receiver to get up under it. The corner has to make a play on that ball, but that was a good throw by Geno.
Bittencourt on to try the extra point. His kick is up. His kick is good, and we are tied. It has been an offensive shootout. Still 6:05 remaining in this first quarter. The Smith hookup with McCartney has tied the game at 10. Back in Morgantown, number 22 West Virginia has just tied it up with Bowling Green 10-10, a 5-play 70-yard drive. They struck quickly, 136. And Geno Smith with his 10th touchdown pass of the year to Ivan McCartney. 33-yarder. McCartney his 3rd touchdown reception on the season.
Let's see if the Mountaineers kick coverage can do a lot better than they did the first 2.
Here's the boot. And will be taken by Steve Dunlap. And Dunlap runs into trouble at the 25-yard line, and as you called, the coverage unit better this time and getting a standing ovation here from the crowd.
That's crazy. You get a standing ovation for a tackle on a kickoff.
Now, last week, again, a lot of the people here in West Virginia thought that injuries were being faked. Now, look right in the middle of your screen, right around the 30-yard line here, and right there you can see Kevin Moore going down rather abruptly, and that's what drew the boos here from the crowd at Milan Puskar Stadium.
You know, guys are getting fined for that in the NFL, about $15,000, and teams are losing draft picks. So I don't know what they can do to college guys or take scholarship checks away, but that was pretty funny right there.
Although we should say those cramps can come up suddenly.
They can come up, so you got to respect all injuries, but I don't know if that was a cramp.
Schultz fakes to Martin, looking downfield on the go route, has a man out there, underthrown. Boy, he had Hudson open. Tandy was able to recover, but Hudson had some room up that sideline, and Schultz couldn't get the ball out to him.
He did. That play took a while to develop. It gave Tandy a good amount of time to turn his head around and make a play on the ball. But, yes, very dangerous pass right there.
Schultz will bring his offense out here to regroup. Again, Binky Cooper, Eugene Binky Cooper, one of the leading receivers for Bowling Green, not in the game today. So Hudson's going to see some more playing time. A quick out. And it is complete to Kamar Jordan. Both Jordan and Binky Cooper, members of the Blitnikoff Award list, the watch list heading into this season.
That was a good tackle right there, because now puts the Mountaineers in defense. They got about 3rd and 4. See if Bruce Irvin could get some pressure. Julian Miller. The coaches want these guys to get more pressure on the quarterback. It's something that they haven't done a lot all season.
Only 1 sack, in fact, for the Mountaineers this season. Schultz will roll to his right. Looking downfield, and nice job of undercutting that route. Good coverage downfield. Ian Smith in coverage for the Mountaineers, and Bowling Green will be forced to punt.
And like you mentioned, the Mountaineers only have 1 sack this year. Bruce Irvin had 14 sacks last year, so they're not getting the same type of production out of the guys up front, partly because they're playing a lot of spread teams, but you know, getting teams in more 3rd and long situations will help that out.
Brian Smitterbush on to kick, and Bowling Green has the #1 net punting average in the nation, thanks to Smitterbush. He boots a low liner, and it's going to be taken by the upback Brown, and Brown is dropped immediately. So good coverage downfield, and this Bowling Green punt unit has been outstanding all season, #1 in the nation.
Yeah, and the Mountaineers, they faced the LSU team last year that had 6 punts. Well, last week they had 6 punts inside of the 10-yard line, so they had to go 90 yards every time they got the ball. Partly the reason why Geno Smith had a big day passing, because it was a long field, but you know, now they get some good field position. Hopefully they can get the running game going here.
And we've seen special teams in this game. Last week, as you mentioned, a factor against LSU. This week with a big return by Boo Gates, also the fumble by Boo Gates. So leading to 10 points, 7 of them for Bowling Green, 3 for West Virginia. Garrison bounces off a tackle before he's taken down close to the 40-yard line on a first down. So he's going to be just shy.
Like I said before, it looks like Bowling Green is backing up into coverage, daring the Mountaineers to run the ball, and so they're going to take advantage of that. Big hole in the middle.
Back live, Geno Smith to Tavon Austin. Austin up the sideline, makes the man miss, and then dances out of bounds across midfield. Ooh, nifty move at the end here by Tavon Austin.
Another play fake. Tavon Austin can catch these short passes and turn them upfield. Coach Clausen said he don't think they have any answer for Tavon because he's so small, so fast.
Very elusive. They put him in that slot very often, so Usually a larger guy that has to go against him. Now Smith goes downfield for McCartney again, nearly makes the acrobatic catch, comes loose as he hits the ground at the 10-yard line, and he remains on the ground now.
Good job by Geno of keeping the safety away from McCartney here. It looked like he mistimed that jump a little, came down right on his back. It looked like it hurt.
And McCartney's still down. That was Devon McCoy in coverage for the Falcons. A freshman, and boy, you look at this team, so young, and Dave Clawson mentioned that not only the athletic differences between the two teams, but also the youth on this Bowling Green team. And this is a very, very young team trying to get things turned around a little bit. He's been a guy that's been able to build teams and turn them around in the 1AA level, and now getting a chance to do that on the big level here in college football.
Yeah, and you know, Coach Clawson said that a lot of their mistakes are coming from those first and second year guys as well. So along with the big plays that they're making, the guys are making mistakes as well.
Dana Holgerson talking about the job Dave Clawson has done and about this Bowling Green Falcons team.
The Bowling Green's got a good program. They're well coached. Coach Clawson has throughout the years done an excellent job of rebuilding teams and got them to the point to where they're going to bowl games and winning championships. He's got a young team, but he's also got some key seniors at receiver and D-line to the point to where they're going to have enough guys with some experience to be able to bring those younger guys along. And if you look at their first 4 games, they've shown improvement in each one of the 4 games and could very easily be 4-0.
Very easily. Really should have beaten Wyoming in that game. A lot of 5 turnovers in the game, then a blocked extra point in the very last play of the game, but then a big upset win last week against Miami. And now the short shovel pass underneath. Unfortunately for West Virginia, it's caught by Garrison, and he's going to lose 4 yards as Dwayne Woods, the outstanding middle linebacker for the Falcons, makes the stop here.
And Bowling Green did an excellent job there. 2nd and 10 is usually a screen or draw down, and Bowling Green looks like they played the percentages, and now they got the Mountaineers on 3rd and long.
And we've got another cramp down in the field, as that is Dwayne Woods, leading tackler on the team. And he's down, and once again the crowd booing.
You don't see a lot of cramps in 45-degree weather, so that's probably why they're booing. But like I said, you respect all injuries until you see otherwise, that it's not an injury.
Woods pops to his feet, and that brings a loud crescendo of boos.
And he's their best defensive player to me, so I hope that they're not trying to pull a fast one over on the Mountaineers on that one.
Well, you wouldn't think. I mean, Kevin Moore is a starting defensive end. He went down with a cramp. Dwayne Woods is, as you mentioned, their best defensive player. He goes down with a cramp.
And now he's off the field this play, so hopefully it doesn't come back to hurt him.
3rd and 13. Falcons showing blitz. Pass underneath, right on the money from Geno Smith. This is Austin. Austin crosses the 30. Austin gets inside the 20. Well, you mentioned they just don't have anybody who can keep up with Tavon Austin, and he proved why here.
Yeah, and the defensive lineman jumped off sides. Almost a free play for Geno. Threw it to his favorite receiver, Tavon Austin. Makes a big play at the sideline, and we talked about it. They lost their best defensive player on that play.
Smith, pump fake. He's going to come back to the backside receiver again. Incomplete. Intended for Ryan Nealon in the back of the end zone. Crowd thought maybe McCoy got there a little too soon.
Yeah, that pass looked like it was a little too far inside from Geno to Nealon. He was Don Nealon's grandson. His father is the equipment manager here.
Woods, by the way, is checked back into the ball game for the Falcons defensively. 2nd and 10. Play clock under 10, as you can see. Give to Garrison off the right side. Big hole for Garrison. Flag coming in late behind the play. Gain of 9 for now. And let's see what the flag's going to be. And it looks like preliminary call is holding against West Virginia.
And 2nd down, big screen, draw down. The Mountaineers are holding true to that tendency to maybe He should throw it a little more second down because every second and long situation they've been running that same play.
Jeff Braun gets the holding call. Here's a look at it, number 57 in your screen. That was a nice horse collar tackle there on Dwayne Woods. So instead of a 2nd and 1 or 3rd and 1, it's going to be 2nd and 18. And off to Garrison. Garrison cuts back, stays on his feet, and then chopped down as he gets to the 20. One more missed tackle away from maybe taking that down to the goal line, but instead the tackle, and it's going to bring up a 3rd and long.
Yeah, that was a nice run right there, making sure 3rd and 11 now, more manageable down distance. We'll see if Bowling Green decides to rush 3 or rush 5 like they've been doing.
Late pressure coming. Blitz right up the middle. Smith has time, fires complete, short of the first down to Stedman Bailey. He steps out of bounds at the 13-yard line. Called the 12-yard line, going to bring up a 4th and 3.
And Bowling Green changed it up. They brought a lot of pressure. They forced the Mountaineers to make a quick throw. Tavon Austin didn't get a chance to get to the sticks and get the first down. Stepped out a little bit short.
And West Virginia going to go for it here. Geno Smith remains on the field with his offense. Gets the snap. The pitch to Garrison. Garrison off the left side, and he's going to pick up the first down inside the 9-yard line. Had to get right around the 9. Got inside the 9. And a gutsy call early by Dana Holgerson. Chris Jones makes the stop, but it's a first down Mountaineers.
Dana got a lot of encouragement from the crowd here, wanting them to go for it on 4th down. Maybe that energizes the Mountaineer team, but that was a good call right there, out on the edge, and Garrison ran the ball pretty hard.
1st and goal. Smith wasting no time getting the team back to the line of scrimmage again. The give. This is Alston, and Alston races into the end zone. Sean Alston, a 9-yard touchdown run, and the Mountaineers have gone back on top.
And this is the first time we've seen the Mountaineers really go to the run game this much all season. Usually that time, the Mountaineers would have threw the ball in this situation, but now they see something that they have going. Run game is going well, and they're going to keep going to it.
And this was one of your keys to the game because it has not been a factor for the Mountaineers this season.
Yeah, and now they get a chance to work on the run game, and I think the weather is helping them because the passing game is struggling a little bit. So now maybe this does help them for later in the season.
Bittencourt's kick is up, and it's good, and the West Virginia Mountaineers in front of the home crowd here in a high-scoring first quarter. We thought we'd see some offense. West Virginia up by the score of 17-10, and now for Dave Glossen's Falcons, following that 11-play, 71-yard drive, they're going to need to regroup and respond offensively.
Yeah, and that big play that they had offensively, and they only got the field goal. We talked about would that come back to haunt them. Right now, it looks like it has, because had they got the touchdown, there would have been a different game.
You get the sense that these folks are going to be worn out by the end of the game doing the push-ups here for every point scored, and we may see a lot of them today.
Yeah, and both offenses are starting to play well. The defenses are doing okay, but the special teams of Bowling Green have really changed this game. So we'll see if the Mountaineers kickoff team right here can come down and make another big tackle.
No, the Mountaineers leading by a score of 17-10. Any question that they might come out flat, any question that they might overlook Bowling Green. If they had any of that going into this game, the Falcons got their attention very quickly by that one-play touchdown drive set up by the long kickoff return by Boo Boo Gates, and the Mountaineers have responded since and have grabbed a 17-10 lead. Short, high kick. Going to the up back, Tyler Beck, and Beck crosses the 30 and gets out to about the 32-yard line, so probably better that than kicking it to Boo Boo Gates, who's very dangerous, as we've seen already.
Yeah, you see the Bowling Green kickoff return team is starting to have an effect on the coaching staff, going to more of a pooch kick. But, we talked about will the Mountaineers come out flat. I don't think they came out flat, but they had to really create their own excitement. It's not the same crowd here, so the fans aren't as into it. And a couple of good plays will do that to a team. It'll get them excited.
You look at the total yardage, of course, part of that, the fact that Boo Boo Gates had that return to the 18-yard line and one play, 18-yard drive. So West Virginia's had the ball longer, but they've been more effective to this point when they've had it. Trips to the right for Schultz. Sets up the screen underneath, and well read. Incomplete, as that was Josh Taylor defensively in there for the Mountaineers.
Brought a little blitz off the edge, forced the quarterback to throw this ball a little quicker than he wanted before the running back got to sift through that traffic. And good job right there by the defensive lineman of staying on his key.
Some blockers out in front, but Taylor read it. 6'1", 285-pound junior for the Mountaineers. 2nd and 10. Give to Jamel Martin. Martin finds some room off the left side and nearly kept his feet. Had no defenders in front of him at all. Pat Miller just got enough of him to trip him up, but a 1st down run for Martin.
And they're running to the right side of the Mountaineer defense. Good job by Bowling Green getting a man on a man, and Martin just ran hard through that hole. Big 1st down.
Out to the 42-yard line. Bowling Green has had success behind Jamel Martin running the football. Schultz will stop, look over to the sideline, pick up the call. Fake to Martin. And a throw long down into double coverage, intercepted. It's Tandy who steps underneath. Tandy out to the 30-yard line to the 35 and hauled down from behind. And finally for the Mountaineers, their 1st interception of the season, and it comes from the guy who was one of the best in the country a year ago with 6, Keith Tandy.
And Tandy probably missed about 4 interceptions so far this year, just went through his hands. He did a great job. This was a poorly thrown ball anyway. He was already double covered, and Tandy just came off of his man and made the interception. Had 2 guys on him already, so it ended up being 3 guys on him. So the first mistake that we've seen from Schultz all day.
You really have to question that decision for a team that's been able to move the ball, but obviously the fumbled kickoff early by Boo Boo Gates, and now this interception, the turnovers. And that was one of the keys for Bowling Green, limit the mistakes, and they have not been able to do it thus far. Garrison, a huge hole off the left side. And Garrison into Falcons territory down to the 39-yard line before Jude I.J. Barima makes a stop.
Starting to see a theme here. Mountaineers, Dana Holgerson, they want to work on this running game, and it looks like it's working a lot better over that left side.
And will Smith get it? One more snap off? He will not. 1st quarter comes to a close, and the Mountaineers surging. Now West Virginia found themselves behind 10-3, but up 17-10 and looking for more thanks to the Keith Tandy interception. So the Mountaineers in front of the old quarterback club, the new quarterback Geno Smith and Bowling Green's quarterback Matt Schultz have had something to say about this game. It's 17-10 at the end of 1. Thought we might see some offense in this game. Bowling Green coming in averaging over 38 points a game. West Virginia nearly 37 points a game. They have not disappointed. Rob King alongside John Thornton here at Mountaineer Field, and Dana Holgerson's team finds himself up by the score of 17-10 after 1. Empty set for quarterback Geno Smith. Smith back under pressure and now throws it away underneath for Garrison, but a good late pass rush that time by the Falcons forced Smith to throw it away.
Yeah, Bowling Green likes to stun up front and bring guys underneath if they're rushing outside and spin back in. They do a lot of different things that confuses an offensive line.
And Garrison, the sidecar to the left. Freshman had a good 1st quarter for the Mountaineers. They'll get the delayed draw up the middle. Spins through a tackle. Stays on his feet and picks up 8, maybe 9 yards on that run before Aaron Foster finally wrestles him to the ground.
And once again, 2nd and 10, the Mountaineers go to a draw. I think they've done that about 3 or 4 times in a row. Garrison putting his foot in the ground, getting good yardage.
Garrison off the right side, and he's going to pick up 1st down yardage again. Well, this is the Mountaineers offense that came in as one of the worst rushing offenses in the country. In fact, 115th out of the 120 teams, but they have been very effective. And now another injury here, and this time it's Ted Ouellette who is slow to get to his feet, and once again the crowd does not like it.
And that's actually favoring the Mountaineers because they're running the ball. It's not like they're out here passing the ball and it's this high-octane offense. They're running the ball, so the linemen probably like it to where they can catch a breath now and get ready to run block some more.
As a defensive player, would you like a little break if a team's been running it at you effectively?
Of course, you need a break every now and then. But you know, the Mountaineers aren't passing the ball well today. They're running the ball, so those kind of plays where you maybe faking an injury is helping offense.
Again, rainy, cold conditions here at Mountaineer Field. Smith back, that's all kinds of time. Going to go for the corner of the end zone. And bobbled up and caught. What a grab by Tavon Austin. No, they're going to say incomplete. It was nearly intercepted. Austin thought he came down with it. The crowd went nuts, but they say incomplete.
Yeah, that ball came out in the end.
It definitely squirted through.
And Gino got lucky here. He threw in the double coverage to a guy who's very small, so it's probably not a ball he wants to throw again. But Tavon, who's a playmaker, almost made this play here at the end, but the ball squirted out.
I'll tell you, the play he made was knocking it away from Devon McCoy. He took defensive back on that and hammered it out of there and nearly caught it on the rebound.
Yeah, that ball should have been an interception, so the Mountaineers, he got lucky right there.
2nd and 10. Ryan Clark in motion. And the give to Alston. Alston off the right side. Alston stays on his feet. Alston gets to the 20-yard line before I.J. Barima comes up with a stop again. And you get the sense here the Mountaineers can almost run at will.
Yeah, 2nd and 10 again. Mountaineers run that draw play. Bowling Green hasn't caught on yet. Mountaineers get big yardage. Makes it an easy 3rd and 3 play.
Mountaineers already 105 rushing yards. This for a team averaging 76 rushing yards per game. There's a quick pass out in the flat, and McCartney slung down after a short gain.
And I'm really impressed with Dana Holgerson's decision to go more to the run game after they've been passing the ball at will the first 4 games, and now doing something that they haven't done well all year, which is run the ball, and he's decided to basically have his offense do that all day.
Yeah, it's going to make the pass, or should make the pass that much more effective, not just this week, but in coming weeks as well. Give to Garrison off the left side. Garrison wrapped up by Ward, still able to struggle forward and get down close to the 15-yard line, but this will bring up another 3rd and long for the Mountaineers.
And the offensive line played probably its best game last week against LSU, which most people probably thought the offensive line would struggle playing against big guys like that. So maybe Dana has more confidence in those guys right now.
3rd and 9. The 2nd and 9, I beg your pardon. Smith over the middle, and it is a touchdown. We do have a flag behind the play. Ryan Nealon with a touchdown pass, and no flag on the play. I beg your pardon. I see something on the 2-yard line. Evidently, that's not a flag, so it is a touchdown for the Mountaineers.
Great play fake by Gino. Turns his back around. Good throw. Touchdown.
Evidently, that's a yellow flag carried by one of the players down there to dry their hands off on this wet day. So 23-10, and Bittencourt will look to make it a 2-touchdown lead. His kick is up, his kick is good, and so Don Nealon, who will be joining us at halftime, gets to see his grandson haul in the touchdown grab. 24-10, Mountaineers lead after Smith hooks up with Nealon. Field can breathe a little easier. Bowling Green jumped out to a 10-3 lead, but that touchdown pass from Geno Smith to Ryan Nealon, first of his career, a 15-yard touchdown reception, has put the Mountaineers up by 2 touchdowns, now 24-10. So 3 unanswered TDs for the Mountaineers.
It's early in this game, and we've seen a lot from both teams. I think that the most impressive thing has been Bowling Green's special teams, but both units look like they can run the ball today. The passing game is struggling, but the Mountaineers look like they're catching up now in the passing game.
There's the boot going to be taken by Boo Boo Gates at his 14-yard line. Gates finds some room. Gates right up the middle of the field. And Gates will get out close to midfield, and Boo Boo Gates has had 3 returns. Now, he fumbled one of them, but he's gashed out huge yardage on all 3.
And this is starting to become a problem here for the Mountaineers. A good thing for Bowling Green, but you put more starters out here and they don't make the tackles, I mean, I don't know where they're going to go from here. Once they get in the Big East play, I mean, guys are going to be licking their chops just to get back there on kickoff return against the Mountaineers.
And going into this game, you thought it would be the other way around. Bowling Green having some trouble last week covering kicks against Miami. So big juncture of the game here for Matt Schultz and this Bowling Green offense. And to find a way to get back on the board, watching West Virginia score 3 unanswered TDs. Schultz on the give. And it's Martin, and Martin will pick up about 4, crossing midfield, getting down close to the 47. The 48 we'll call it, so give him 3. George Wright makes the stop.
And that was a good first down run for Bowling Green. probably settle down their offense. And now they have to look to get points because the Mountaineers are pulling away, even though the game seems like it's a lot closer than what it is.
Yeah, Bowling Green with some untimely turnovers. I guess there's no such thing as a timely turnover, but had some chances moving the ball and have really been their own worst enemy offensively. Give to Martin off the right side, looking to get to the edge. Now we'll cut it back inside, and he is hammered. Will Clark and Josh Francis nailing the redshirt freshman.
And that was a great job by the Mountaineer defense. The guys staying in their gaps, not peeking inside when you're not supposed to. And look, you can see everybody stay in their gap, pushing the ball out to the guys on the outside so they can make the tackle.
Josh Francis, a junior college transfer, able to come over and put the big lick. Will Clark from just up the road in the Pittsburgh area. You can see the third down conversions. 3rd and 6. Shorts back, steps up, has a man wide open, but Jordan only going to pick up a couple. Looked like the throw might have been behind him. Smith and Garvin made the stop. One of those plays, John, where if that is smoothly executed, he should be able to run for the first down here.
He should, but like you said, it might have been thrown behind him, so he couldn't turn up the field. You know, he bobbled it a little bit. By the time he caught it, he got hit by 2 defenders.
And Ian Smith, one of those defenders, slow to get up right now for the Mountaineers.
And now Bowling Green has to think about going for it here on 4th down. The game is starting to get away from them. They've been playing well, but, you know, like you said, 3 consecutive touchdowns by the Mountaineers are really going to put these guys from Bowling Green on the edge.
4th and a short 3. If they got down to the 41 from there, they would certainly pick up the first down. Have to get close to that 41-yard line, and they're going to send out the special teams unit. So Brian Smitterbush, who's done an outstanding job, as we mentioned, for Bowling Green, the #1 net punting unit in the country. Tavon Austin will go back deep for West Virginia as Smith slow to get off the field.
And this, you probably want to kick this out in the back of the end. You don't want Tavon Austin to get this one. And it's a short field for the Mountaineers, but if Tavon can get this in return, that would be nice. Bad kick.
Short, low kick, and Austin lost the handle, called the fair catch, able to recover himself, and a little gasp you could hear at Mountaineer Field as Austin almost let that one slither away. So West Virginia gets the ball back. They have scored on their last 3 possessions, touchdowns all. They lead 24-10 here at Mountaineer Field. Coach Dana Holgerson's been looking for more productivity out of his running game. John Thornton, he is getting it today.
Yeah, he is. And you see Garrison putting his foot in the ground, getting upfield. A lot of these yards are coming on 2nd and long, 2nd and 10 situations where Bowling Green is sort of backing up and playing coverage. So Dana Holgerson's going to make them pay for it. And their running game is playing the best it's played all year.
In fact, their highest total, 102 yards in the game we did against Norfolk State. They've already got 115, and Garrison's got 99. He's about ready to surpass that total all by himself. Give off the right side, and this is Garrison, and Garrison's got a huge hole, cuts to the outside. And Garrison gets out across midfield down to the 48-yard line of the Falcons.
And these guys have heard it all year that they can't run the ball. All they can do is pass, and I'm sure the offensive line is loving how things are going right now.
First down, West Virginia.
Garrison, a big run here, gets himself up over 100 yards and then some. Came in with 99 yards in the game previous to that run. And he'll check out, take a breather. Pass underneath is complete to Stedman Bailey, and Bailey will take it down to the 30-yard line. Garrison up to 141 yards now, by the way, after that 42-yard run. And Stedman Bailey with a nice hook up here with Geno Smith.
And this was a great throw by Geno. I mean, confidence in his receiver to get open. The cornerback actually did a good job. He just lost the sight of the receiver right there, and that was a great hookup.
That was Jude Barima in coverage. 1st and 10, Garrison checks back in. And Garrison is slung down after a short gain as Woods makes the stop. Pickup of about 4 on that first down run.
And a lot of this is that draw action, that play action type runs. You know, I'm sure the Mountaineers here are going to fake the run and go deep sooner because they are getting good pressure.
And there's the fake to Garrison. Geno Smith looking. Doesn't have anybody open. Now Smith will tuck it and run. Doesn't do that very often, but picks up enough on the run there to get across the 20 down to the 19-yard line.
Yeah, and that was the play action I was talking about. You're getting good, doing a good job in the run game. So, you fake the run right here, come back around. Hopefully somebody got open downfield, but the Bowling Green did a great job in coverage. Geno just ate the ball and got out of bounds.
Picked up a first down on that run. Fake to Garrison. Smith has to step up. Pump fakes. Throws towards the end zone. Defender falls down. Boy, if he knew he was going to throw down, he obviously wouldn't have thrown it that high to Millhouse. But as it was, he didn't know by the time he released it the defender was going to fall down. But Willie Millhouse wound up looking a lot more open than he was when Geno Smith let the ball go. And now another injury here, and it's Boo Boo Gates reaching for his calf.
Like I said, you always got to respect injuries. You never know if he's hurt, but when it happens this frequently, you got to wonder if this was something part of the game plan to try to slow the Mountaineers down.
Well, we've seen it with some of their best players. I mean, it's not like they're faking it with the fourth-string nickelback out there defensively. Dwayne Woods and Boo Boo Gates are arguably their two best defenders. Not arguably, they are their two best defenders.
And you will hope that wasn't the game plan, to have your best defensive players come out or fake an injury. But you always want to respect it. You never know a guy get hurt. And now, if a guy does get hurt, we're going to be speculating if he's faking. So you never want to have that a part of your game plan.
Dana Holgorsen has seen his offense really starting to catch a rhythm here. Up 24-10, able to run the ball effectively. That's been an issue all season long, as Boo Gates walking slowly off the field. And let's take a look at Dwayne Gates. And there he is, kind of waving towards the sideline, and down he goes.
I mean, I can't see him cramping up in this cold weather, but if they want to take their best defensive players off the field, then he must know something more than we do.
2nd and 10 from the 19. Clark Krabs in motion. Give to Garrison. Garrison another huge hole. Garrison stays on his feet. Garrison's going to get into the end zone. 19-yard touchdown run for the freshman Dustin Garrison.
It's another run on 2nd and 10. The Mountaineers have killed these guys on 2nd and 10 with the draw action. Most of his yards, I guarantee you, coming in 2nd and 10 situations.
Fine-looking run, one last cut, 19-yard run for Garrison, who's up to 160 rushing yards in the game.
In the first half, and these guys haven't really rushed the ball well all year, so this is definitely the best part of the game for the Mountaineers.
And we have another player down on the field for Bowling Green. Bittencourt trying to get himself prepared to kick the extra point. Looks like it's Ryland Ward who's down.
It's just a simple draw action. 2nd and 10 is a big draw. Run down to try to get some yards to make 3rd down more manageable. And these guys are getting good blocks, and Garrison's running really hard today.
6-play, 90-yard drive capped off on the 19-yard touchdown run. Just 1 minute and 48 seconds as Ryland Ward gingerly walking off the field here.
And as we saw with Norfolk State a couple of weeks ago, they wore down. They started out really well, wore down. They didn't have the bodies to come in and compete with the Mountaineers for a full game, and you're starting to see the effects of that today.
Well, you talk about, schools stepping up in class and the chance to spring an upset, and we love all those stories, but, some of the downside outside of the big paycheck you receive is, hey, some of your guys might get banged up playing against bigger, stronger, faster guys. Bittencourt nails it through. 4 consecutive touchdowns for the Mountaineers. They lead by a score of 31-10 after Garrison's 19-yard TD run. Someone's trying to cool off West Virginia in that offense. Up 31-10. They've scored 4 consecutive touchdowns on this rainy, windy day here at Mountaineer Field, which has not affected the Mountaineers offense in the least against Bowling Green.
And the run game is what's key in this whole attack right now. And we're used to seeing a passing game, and in this weather, the passing game struggled a little bit, but the run game is busted wide open, and now Bowling Green has to find a way to stop it.
See the picture there of Coley White. It's Pat White's younger brother. Went to the quarterback weekend here at West Virginia. Taken by Boo Boo Gates. And Gates, for the first time, not going to find much room to operate in. And he's going to cross the 25, get to about the 28-yard line before he's bottled up.
And Bowling Green started this game out probably the best way you could, having great special teams. The offense came out and played well. The defense got some stops, but now it looks like they're starting to wear down.
Look at the difference, the disparity there in total yards, 320 to 95. You mentioned two of the best offenses in the country coming in, but West Virginia's offense has been the one that's really shined. And Matt Shills has to understand, I think, too, that turnovers are going to be costly because West Virginia's scoring at will. So had the throw the last time that was picked off, he needs to make sure he's taking care of the football here, John.
And the Mountaineers defense has played well so far today as well.
They go empty set for Schultz. Back, quick throw on the slant, and it is complete. And it's going to be out to the 35-yard line. That's Kamar Jordan on the reception.
And when you have this kind of lead, your defense can sort of sit back and not, give up a big play and make them complete those smaller passes. But, now you want to see the Mountaineer defense get more pressure. Bruce Irvin get on track. He only has 1 sack this year, so guys can start playing better up front.
And conversely, if you're Dave Clawson, I mean, obviously you want to score, but I would think you'd want to take as much time as possible, give your defense a rest, see if you can cool down West Virginia's offense by keeping them on the sidelines. Second and short. Fake to Martin. Schultz looking. Going to try to gun one and nearly intercepted. Ian Smith collided with another West Virginia defender. I believe it was Snow out there.
Looked like this would have been an interception, but it hit the defender in the back, and the other guy was timing it up right here, cornerback.
Oh, that's exactly what happened.
But Schultz is making some ill-advised throws on the move where I think that's been the best part of his game, from the games that I've watched. He's very good on the run, but today looks like he's a little bit off going down the field after he's coming on the bootleg action.
Well, again, some of these defenders may be a little quicker than what he's been used to seeing as well. Third and short. Schultz, quick pass out to the flat, complete, close to the first down stick. Keith Tandy in there defensively on Adrian Hodges, and it is right at the lead stick.
This is a good quick throw. Schultz got it out there. First down.
So they do move the sticks. They got just enough. Schultz gets a fresh set of downs with which to operate. The 38-yard line. Two receivers you can see bunched one behind the other on each side. With Martin. Martin finds some room, and Jamel Martin has put together a nice first half against this West Virginia defense.
He's a very strong runner, and looks like he's going to be the only guy touching the ball today. But at least they're looking to him for a lot of big plays, but I've been impressed with how he runs inside the tackles.
Martin, 6 carries, 37 yards here early on in this first half. Well, I guess passed early on officially in the first half. 7 minutes remaining in the second quarter now. He has been a weapon for this Bowling Green team. Almost surprised maybe that they aren't running a little more, John.
Yeah, I mean, the Mountaineers defense, they're playing well, but you can see he's getting first down right there, and he can keep the chains moving. But now they have to get big plays, so the Mountaineers defense might not care that he's getting these 4 or 5 yard runs as long as they don't give up the big play.
Josh Francis on the stop. Linebacker coming over to help out on the tackle. First down at the 49-yard line.
The big key now is that, Schultz doesn't, get frustrated that the team isn't making the big plays and throw one and get it picked off again.
Martin remains in the game as the sidecar to the left. Schultz will look for a new play over the sideline. Play clock down to 5. Schultz able to get it away. Throws one back for Jordan. And it was incomplete coverage downfield by Miller.
That was a pretty good play by Miller. He struggled last week against LSU. Technique broke down. The coaches talked about how they wanted to get the secondary playing a lot better. It looks like those guys are doing that today.
It's one of those plays that's become popular, sort of the throw to the back shoulder, but Miller was in perfect position. So
great position there, so they couldn't really get that play to the back shoulder.
2nd and 10. Schultz to give to Martin. And the cutback, and Martin dropped from behind. Josh Taylor in pursuit from his defensive tackle position. But Martin, a nice job of turning something from nothing.
Yeah, that was a good job by Julian Miller making the play stretch. He almost made the tackle, allowed his teammates to come and make the play on the edge.
Now, Dave Clawson talked about Jamel Martin. Once he really gets a grasp of this offense, he's maybe the most talented running back he has, although they all bring something different to the table. Samuel's averaging over 100 yards per game, and Hopgood kind of a bigger, stronger back. And Bowling Green now is going to be facing another big third down. 2 of 5 on third down for the Falcons this game, and they're going to talk things over here. And again, we've talked about this. Bowling Green needs to do something to stem the tide, as we see Julian Miller slow to get up here. So some bodies being banged up. Miller along the sideline, able to kind of hobble over the couple of feet and take a brief rest here. We've talked about this Bowling Green, and they've got to do something to stem the tide here.
Yeah, and they're starting to slip behind, and they have the balls about 5 minutes and 50 seconds left in the half. They want to come away from this drive with the touchdown, because the Mountaineers get it back and score again. I mean, there's no way Bowling Green will come back.
And West Virginia gets the ball to begin the second half as well. Again, remember, Boo Boo Gates had that kickoff return, a good one, but then fumbled, so West Virginia was able to cash that in for 3 quick points. They'll get the ball to begin the second half as well, and now movement along the left side of the offensive line. That was Kyle Bryant.
75, 5-yard penalty. Repeat the down.
The big 6'5" sophomore who moved too early.
Yeah, and then Bruce Irvin was on the opposite side of him, so I can understand why he wanted to get a jump and pass protection.
It's got to be a lonely feeling looking around and nobody else has moved.
Yeah, and this is where Bruce usually shines. He hasn't done that a lot this year. He's gotten good pressure, just haven't brought the quarterback down a lot.
1 sack after 14 a year ago. Schultz sprinting. They try to lob one. It is intercepted. Picked off by Tandy, second of the game, and Keith Tandy returns it into Bowling Green territory. So West Virginia came in with no interceptions. Tandy has changed that with 2 of his own here, and West Virginia right back in Bowling Green territory.
And we talked about this a few plays ago, how Schultz couldn't get frustrated with the lack of big plays and make a mistake down the field and throw another interception. And it looks like he's struggling on the move, which he hasn't done that all year.
Geno Smith come out looking for more before this half comes to a conclusion. As Garrison lined up behind him. In motion. Here's Austin. Austin, hesitation move. And he'll pick up a first down, getting down close to the 35-yard line.
And when you can't stop the run, all of these other plays start to work down, and now you don't know what to try to stop if you're Bowling Green. But it's a good job by Tavon there. He's high-stepping a little bit, but he got a first down and got out of bounds.
Down to the 36 is where they'll mark it. Brown comes in motion the other way to give to Garrison, makes one-man miss, stays on his feet, and picks up another first down. And now we're beginning to see this West Virginia offense just rolling down the field.
And Bowling Green did a good job. They got penetration. Garrison made the guy miss right here, put his foot in the ground, got upfield. Now he's dragging people at the end. Bowling Green looks like they're wearing down just a little bit.
They do indeed. Give to Garrison off the left side, and Garrison this time nowhere to run. Spun down by Chris Jones.
Good job by Jones there, securing the tackle, getting off the block and making a big play. Mountaineers are hurrying up back to the line of scrimmage.
Jones, a high motor guy, has been the best defensive lineman this year for the Falcons. Came in for this game with 3 sacks in the season. Garrison gets a rest, and Sean Alston is checked in at running back. Smith back has all kinds of time, and now late flush. Woods has a hold of him and can't bring him down, and finally slings him to the ground. The ball flung out of there. And what are they going to call here? They're going to say incomplete pass. Dave Clawson, beside himself, thought that should have been called the sack.
You know, sometimes they might have called it, but it looked like Geno Smith was going to break out of one of these grabs right here. Probably should have thrown that ball away. Very dangerous throw at the end, but he didn't take the sack, didn't lose the yardage.
And that was Moore, not Woods, who had a hold of the jersey there. And Geno somehow able to wriggle out of that, avoid the sack, and set up the 3rd and 10. Bowling Green showing pressure. Now they'll back away. 3-man rush. Smith back, looking all kinds of time, complete down close to the first down marker. Looks like they've got it. Ivan McCartney crosses the 15, gets down to the 14. Another first down for the Mountaineers.
Bowling Green showed a lot of 4- and 5-man pressures throughout the season. Now it looks like they're trying to rush 3 and back up and make it tough on the passing game, but Gino found his man for the first down.
Good job of surveying the field, and Smith all kinds of time from that offensive line. With the Garrison, cuts back, stays on his feet, loses the football, still free, and it's going to be pounced upon. And it looked like it was Tyler Rader who recovered it for West Virginia.
Huge break for West Virginia right there. Everything was going right. First mistake of the day for Garrison, almost losing that ball. Would have been a big break for Bowling Green to get that one right before the half.
One of the defenders didn't catch who it was right in the chest, but scored it free. Again, a wet pigskin on a wet, rainy day in Morgantown. Fake pass into the end zone. Touchdown. It is Brad Starks who hauls it in. And another touchdown for the Mountaineers. 5th of the half.
And Tavon Austin was open on this one as well. They both ran slant routes, and Gino had his pick on who he wanted to throw to, threw it to Starks, touchdown.
So nice throw and catch, Devon McCoy in coverage, but good throw, good reception on the other end for Starks, and Bittencourt on to try the extra point. And his kick is up, it's good. 35 unanswered points for number 22 West Virginia. And they have sprinted out to the 38-10 lead.
Just like we saw in the Norfolk State game, Mountaineers were down 12-10, scored about 35 straight, blew that game out of the water, and it looks like the same thing's happening here today.
So 17 points off of turnovers. We mentioned the mistakes for Bowling Green. And not only do you put those 17 points on the board for West Virginia, but this is an offense that's been very prolific. You take away, obviously, by doing that from your own ability to score. So, 17-point turnaround, but it could have been more than that if they had a chance to execute a couple of plays. They had the drop touchdown attempt on the trick play, and then they've been able to move the ball in spurts, but have really been undone by their own turnovers.
The turnovers, and then Bowling Green defense not being able to stop the run, and that's what's really blowing this game wide open, because you expect the Mountaineers to pass the ball at will, but when they run the ball, now you have to defend their whole playbook, because Gino can fake it, pull it out, throw those touchdown strikes like he's been doing. So Bowling Green started the game out playing good defense, but now it looks like they're just wearing down.
You get the sense that those push-ups might continue for West Virginia the way they've been moving the ball. Gates looking for some room. Hebrew Gates going to be hemmed in around the 30-yard line and be able to drag a couple of tacklers out to the 33-yard line. And here are those turnovers, and this is really part of what has derailed Bowling Green. Began with Gates on the opening kickoff of the game.
The opening kickoff, that's the ball slippery, and the quarterback here, Ilivai's throwing the triple coverage. Keith Tandy with 2 interceptions here today. There's a second one, and Schultz is just struggling on the move today. Well, that looked to be a strong point coming into the game.
Well, you wonder, I mean, again, we talk about stepping up, and Dave Clawson mentioned this. I mean, you're going to be playing against guys that are bigger and faster and stronger than you're used to playing, and maybe they're just guys that are in areas that he doesn't expect them to be in either.
That is true, and it's the same thing happened in Mountaineers last week. When you turn the ball over against a team that has more depth than you, this is what happens.
Schultz now in trouble. Schultz taken down from behind. It's Terrence Garvin who comes in on the sack.
Now the guys on defense, they're starting to feel it. They're getting excited. Jeff Castile's bringing the blitz. And Schultz is going to have a rough day.
Garvin with the sack from behind there. Mountaineers came in with just 3 sacks. Again, no interceptions on the season, or just 1 sack, I beg your pardon. No interceptions on the season. Had the 3 fumble recoveries, but able to come up with sacks, able to come up with turnovers today.
And you wonder if Bowling Green is just going to try to get out of this half and run the ball, or they're going to take another shot down the field.
For this play, they'll run it. And it's Martin. Martin finds some room, makes a nice cut. Martin crosses midfield, and Martin gets inside the 45-yard line of West Virginia and down to the 41-yard line.
A very safe call for Clawson there with his offense, and they were struggling a little bit and seeing what will come out of it. And Martin got a big run.
And Jamel Martin has had a very good first half. And for Dave Clawson, you know, again, came in with Anton Samuel as his guy. Jordan Hopgood has been the starter during the season, and now he comes in 10 carries for 80 yards. So if nothing else, he's found another running back for his stable.
Yes, and it looks like now they're going to the 2 tight end set, going to major in the run.
Martin hitting the hole. It's Darwin Cook who came up and made the stop.
And going to that 2 tight end set now, it's going to force the Mountaineers to see something different that they haven't, seen all game. So now it looks like the run is just as effective as the pass, because the passing game for Bowling Green hasn't been very well.
You get the sense that they better start stepping up the tempo. You're right. Maybe they were thinking about running out the first half clock, but after that big run by Martin, you're thinking about some points here now. Give to Martin again off the right side. Nothing doing this time. Not a lot of room. And it's going to bring up a 3rd and long.
It's a very safe call. You don't want to turn the ball over down here. Mountaineer defense has to hold and force Bowling Green into a long field goal before the half.
Julian Miller makes the stop. One of just 4 returning starters on that outstanding West Virginia defense from a year ago. Now Dave Clawson's going to let a lot of time run out and run down, and with 40.5 seconds left, he will call the timeout. So clearly he does not want, regardless of what happens here, he doesn't want West Virginia getting the ball again during this first half.
And I wonder if this play right here will be, a rollout or something that Shields can see a safe pass and try to get the first down over here to the open side of the field. But you don't want to throw it deep and ruin your chances of getting some points before the half.
And for Bowling Green, that's their struggles ahead. But for Dana Holgerson, his offensive execution, his team's offensive execution has been nearly flawless in this first half.
Yeah, and it's all key by the run game, something that was unexpected because they have, West Virginia haven't really done that all year. So Dana has to be happy going into the half.
Again, the 115th ranked offense running the ball coming into this game for West Virginia. So that is a stark turnaround from what we've seen today. And of course, Geno Smith has chipped in with a couple touchdown passes as well. And now a 3rd and 6 for Bowling Green. They're going to keep it on the ground. They're not going to get much. Martin, in fact, going to be stopped right at the line of scrimmage. So now 4th down as Bruce Irvin makes the stop.
Very safe play. Get the ball towards the middle of the field. The field goal kicker can have a better shot of getting a field goal before the half. And
boy, 55 yards, though, from this stage. You would think they'd be going for it here. So I think, again, Dave Clawson thinking maybe if you are able to pick up the first down, maybe you take one more play and have a reasonable field goal attempt. If you don't pick it up, there's only going to be probably less than 20 seconds in the entire field to go for West Virginia to try to even get into field goal range. So I'm sure he's trying to shrink his odds that the Mountaineers will score again, hedging his bets a little bit on this call.
Yeah, he's sort of playing against the clock right here. Still 24 seconds left, so if they don't make a field goal, if they go for it, they don't make it, Geno still has some time to get down the field. Maybe the Mountaineers will get a field goal out of this.
And Dave Clawson trying to play the clock as well as possible, give his offense enough time to get up the first down to score some points, and not enough for West Virginia if they can't convert. 4th down. Schultz back, looking, pressure from the backside, hit, deflected, and intercepted. Terrence Garvin, the 3rd interception for the Mountaineers, as Bruce Irvin under the pressure. Garvin with the interception, and the Mountaineers playing a nearly flawless first half, especially after that big return by Boo Boo Gates that got Bowling Green that early touchdown. Since then, it's been offense, it's been defense for the Mountaineers.
This is a strange set of calls here for Clawson, because you would expect him to go for either the first down on the previous play and then maybe go for the field goal on that one, but you just give it back to the Mountaineers and see if Dana will try to get more points out of this, or just hand the ball off to Garrison to see what he can get.
15 seconds remaining. Those two might not be mutually exclusive either, the way Garrison's been running the ball. Garrison will get the call. Moves to his left. Garrison cuts to the outside. Garrison out near midfield. And with a little over 7 seconds remaining, now do you begin to rethink what you might try to accomplish here?
If you can get about 7 or 8 more yards and then go for the field goal, but this, it's not a lot of time. You have to get out of bounds. Whatever this play is, you got to get out of bounds. And see if your field goal kicker can give it a shot.
Garrison, 22 carries, 208 rushing yards in this first half. Clock again stopped because he was able to get out of bounds. Right at midfield. Smith will bring Clark in motion. We'll give to Garrison again. Garrison up the left sideline. Garrison out of bounds at the 41-yard line with 1.5 seconds left on the clock.
And the Mountaineers had 3 timeouts there, so they could have run anything they wanted, but very important that he got out of bounds there, so now they can take a shot at the end zone with 1.5 seconds left.
So this, presumably, barring a defensive penalty, will be the last play of the first half. And they'll give it to Garrison. And Garrison will cut back to the left. Garrison stays on his feet to the middle of the field and down to the 25-yard line. So Dana Holgorsen clearly not trying to rub things in or run things up here too much. As that young man, Dustin Garrison, has had an outstanding first half. Well over 200 yards rushing for the freshman in the first half for an offense that came in as a team averaging just over 76 yards a game on the ground.
And that's the big shocker this first half is the running game of the Mountaineers. Garrison really playing well. You know, we'll see if they keep it up in the second half or if they start to substitute guys, but the run game has been doing really well today.
And so after that, again, that first early score, 18-yard touchdown pass after the big return by Boo Boo Gates, and Bowling Green added a field goal. They were up 10-3 at that point. Since then, 5 consecutive touchdowns for the Mountaineers as they go up by the score of 38-10. And they are rolling and clicking on all cylinders. And we're seeing now what the run can do for the passing game, as well as Geno Smith's also got the ball in the end zone as well.
And now if you're Bowling Green, you got to defend the whole playbook, because before you would just defend the West Virginia pass. Now the run game is going, so you know, these guys got to come out.
Coach Dana Holgorsen joining us now, and Dustin Garrison, coach, has already set a freshman rushing record, 24 carries, 233 yards. I'm sure you're pleased with the way your team was able to run the football in the first half.
Yeah, we knew schematically that they were going to give us the run, and proud of how we started. You know, other than the first 2 drives, you know, just proud of how we started finishing blocks, and then he got the ball out in the open field, and it kind of looked like his entire high school career.
Coach, you got anything else you need to do with your kickoff team? They gave us some yards early. Are you going to make any more changes?
Yeah, we put about 22 different people in there, you know, so we're going to continue to put as many people as we have to in there until we find 10 guys that'll go down there and make a play.
Coach, thanks for the time.
Right.
Dana Holgorsen, and the rushing record for a freshman at West Virginia, Pat White, 220 yards against Pitt. Dustin Garrison, 24 carries, 233 yards. He has broken that record on quarterback weekend. West Virginia leading Bowling Green 38-10 at the half. So Kyle Burkhardt will get set to kick off. And the Mountaineers getting the ball first here to begin the second half. And the boot. It's going to bounce, and it's going to be taken by Broderick Jenkins. And Jenkins out to the 35-yard line, loses the football on the ground. Well, maybe the Mountaineers won't get the ball first. In fact, Bowling Green will.
So Bowling Green started the game, fumbling the opening kickoff. The Mountaineers return the favor, fumbling the opening kickoff of the second half.
And it was Boo Boo Gates who came in on the hit, and the ball looked like it was coming loose before his knee hit the ground. I don't know if they're going to ask to get this reviewed, but it looked like it was coming out. The hit by Gates, and the fumble recovery by Ryland Ward.
It would be hard to overturn that since they called that a fumble on the field. It looked like a bang-bang play, and it can go either way. I don't know if his knee was down quite before the ball came out. The ball's coming loose right now.
The ruling on the field is a fumble recovered by Bowling Green. That ruling will be under review.
So Jeff McGonigal wants to get a closer look at it, and again, from what you saw, and I think you and I saw the same thing, it looked like the ball was starting to come out before his knee hit the ground. It looked like he didn't have control of the football. You know, it looked, again, on the two-dimensional look on the scoreboard here, that maybe he still had it when his knee hit the ground, but it looked like it was coming out. That left knee does not touch the ground, I don't believe, or the right knee does not touch the ground. It looks like the left knee is the one that hits the ground.
Yes, and the ball was coming loose, so it'd be interesting to see how the referees call this one here.
Look from behind. Does that right knee ever get down on the ground? It doesn't look like it does. And by the time the left knee hits, it looks like that ball's out of there.
Yeah, I think this one will stand as called on the field, but it's not a good way to start. Even though you're up big, you don't want to come out and start with a turnover.
On that angle, again, it looked like the ball was already moving out by the time Broderick Jenkins' right knee hit the ground. And finally, one more angle here. Can't really get much of a look at it from there, but of course we're not the judges.
No, we're not. And this is one thing I think that's hurt the Mountaineers this season is the special teams haven't really played well. Kickoff unit, now the kickoff return is fumbling the ball. So Dana still has things to get this team ready for the Big East for.
Now the one big moment, of course, that the special teams did have was that kickoff return for a touchdown by Tavon Austin against Marshall that helped turn that game around. But you're right. Other than that, it's been not a whole lot of great things out of the special teams units. And I don't think particularly the coverage units are something that are high on Coach Holgerson's list right now.
Yeah, you remember in that Marshall game, they gave up a punt return.
That's right.
Early in the game, and Marshall went up 7-0. So I think every last one of the special teams units, the punts haven't been good. The kicker, I think, the punter has been replaced. So, that's the thing that's holding this team back is the special teams unit. And now they're trying to put starters out there to get better players on the units, but doesn't look like that's helping either.
Yeah, you heard Dana Holgerson talk about the different personnel he's used, but one thing that he's been able to do that's helped out his punt coverage team is he hasn't had to punt since the very first punt by Corey Smith. So you keep him off the field. That's probably a coach's favorite punt unit is the one that never hits the field.
Yeah, I guess that's good and bad. You don't have to punt, but if you do, you don't really trust your punter. So I'm not worrying about the punting game because, like you said,
after further review, the runner's knee was down at the 37-yard line. The ball be placed in the left hash. First down, West Virginia.
That's why we're not officials, because we didn't see that at all the way the officials saw it or the way that Dave Clawson evidently saw it. But it is Mountaineer football, so they'll indeed get the first snap offensively of the second half.
Yes, disregard everything I said. I don't know what I'm talking about, and I was wrong.
And that's hard for me to believe, but that is the call, and so that's the call that counts. Geno Smith coming back in that shotgun. Waggle to the right. Pitch to Garrison. Garrison gets the edge. Garrison heads upfield, and Garrison crosses the 45-yard line before Dwayne Woods makes the tackle. And at this stage right now, John, it just looks like West Virginia can run the ball at will.
Yes, and you're seeing more patience out of Garrison. Earlier in the season, he may have cut that ball up a little too early. He's taking the run out to the numbers, allowing the offensive linemen to get their blocks, and now the holes are just getting bigger and bigger.
Second and short. Pass out to the flat is complete. And it is Starks who hauls it in and picks up the first down. I beg your pardon, that's Ivan McCartney who makes the grab.
And, being a former defensive guy, myself, a former player, when you get the ball run on you like that, it's hard to really do anything because every play you're thinking about stopping the run, and then they pick it up and they pass it. So now you're just playing catch up the whole game.
And it looks like Daryl Hunter is down, and that's, boy, if he's injured, that's big trouble because Cameron Truss, their normal starter, has got an ankle injury, so he's been hobbled and he has not been able to play. And Hunter would be the second team guy. Javon Leacock, who's another guy that's a guy who sees time in that Bowling Green secondary, he's out of this game. So Bowling Green is really starting to scrape along with numbers here, and injuries playing a part in what they're trying to get accomplished today as well. Let's take a look at what happened here at the end of this play.
It's hard to tell what happened there, but you don't want to lose your good players, if any players at all, but your good players start going out. It just makes the next guy have to come in and step up.
Well, Daryl Hunter looks like he's able to walk off the field under his own power, so that's good news for Dave Clawson and Bowling Green. Again, we talked about that. The last thing you want to do is come in and, yes, you get the big payday, and yes, you have the chance to grab the national spotlight, and yes, you have a chance to see how you measure up. Yes, you have a chance to see what you have to improve upon. But you also don't want to come into a game like this, John, and just get physically beat up and have it affect you in the coming weeks as well.
Yes, because the most important thing for Bowling Green is their own conference, the MAC, in which they won a big game last week against Miami of Ohio. So you want to lead this game healthy so you can at least win your division.
Pump and go, and Geno Smith had his man out there, but was hit from behind by that high motor guy we were talking about, Chris Jones, his 4th sack of the season, and Garrison pounced on the loose ball.
It looks like Jones took the inside move right here. The important thing is he kept working. He didn't go just get pushed by. He came back and he got a sack, caused fumble, and almost recovered it himself. So that was a great play by him.
A lot of praise out of the Falcons program for Chris Jones, a guy who just keeps coming and coming and coming. As you mentioned there, John comes up with his 4th sack of the season. And so that brings up a 2nd and long. Falcons showing blitz. Smith underneath and nobody home. Looks like maybe a miscommunication out there. And it's going to be an incompletion intended for Tyler Urban.
And that's what pressure does for you. You get a sack on the previous play, and now Geno Smith feels like he has to rush the ball. He had good protection. Him and the receiver just looked like they were not on the same page on that one.
So 3rd and 13, opening drive of the 2nd half. Geno Smith back, going to throw one deep. Down the left sideline. And it is caught. What a grab. Stedman Bailey slowing down and able to shield the defender away and make the catch. Ball looked like it was slightly underthrown, but Stedman Bailey, a terrific job on the other end.
Like you said, an excellent concentration by Stedman. Ball was probably underthrown. The cornerback didn't get his head around, so that's why he couldn't play it. But that was a great play by Stedman.
Beautifully timed catch by Stedman Bailey. 1st and goal. Give to Garrison. They'll try the right side. He'll cut back. He will waltz into the end zone. And Garrison will rush for his 2nd touchdown of the game. And the freshman is turning in an unbelievable afternoon, up near 250 yards rushing.
And he's showing patience, taking the ball out to the numbers and then cutting it back, allowing his offensive line to get the guys on the ground. But even from the beginning of this game, I mean, his patience is improving, and now it's helping him out because the holes are getting bigger for him.
Bittencourt on to try the extra point. We'll put the Mountaineers up by 35. Boot is up, boot is through, and West Virginia 6 consecutive touchdowns for the Mountaineers on a 6-play, 63-yard drive, capped off by Dustin Garrison, up to 250 yards rushing on the afternoon. That young man's name is Brock Broel, and he's in his 2nd season as the Mountaineer mascot. And right before our cameras got on him, he was huffing and puffing a little bit. He had to do 45 more push-ups. He's getting a workout.
Yeah, and I think he's cheating those push-ups. He's not getting a full lockout, as we noticed up here. But you know, having to do 45, and the next one's going to be 52 if they get another touchdown. So he's going to have a full day.
So that minute 53 drive, 6 of their 9 drives under 2 minutes. So even though they've been predominantly running the football, the Mountaineers have still shown the ability to strike quickly. As Boo Boo Gates retreats inside his 5-yard line. Cuts back up the field, finds some room. Boo Boo Gates once again a fine return as he crosses the 30, gets out to the 32-yard line before he is forced out of bounds by Stedman Bailey.
Like you said, that was a good return. It looked like it was going to go for more, but great pursuit by the Mountaineers inside out here, getting them out of bounds at the 32-yard line.
How about that, using starters and using wide receivers on your kick coverage unit? Dana Holgerson still trying to get that mix right on this coverage teams.
And that's probably been the one thing that he doesn't like, is that he has starters on this unit now, and they still have been giving up big yards on the kickoff team.
And Matt Schultz gets to get his hands on the ball for the first time here in the 2nd half. There's Jamel Martin on the sidecar to the right, and hand to Martin. Martin finds a nice hole and cuts upfield, going to pick up about 3 or 4. Martin, a really good first half tackle there by Juwan Snow. 12 carries, 83 yards in the first half for the redshirt freshman.
And he's been overshadowed by the great rushing day for Garrison for West Virginia. But Martin has run the ball pretty strong over that Bowling Green left side of the offensive line.
When you think about that, you got 83 yards in the first half. You're on pace for 166. That's a great afternoon. The other guy across from me, he's got 233 in the first half alone. So Jamel Martin, a couple of freshmen, and Dustin Garrison for West Virginia have turned in nice afternoons. And here's Martin again, up around the 40-yard line. Now, how much of this, as Julian Miller makes a stop, are we seeing that's effective Bowling Green running, and how much of it is West Virginia playing maybe a bit of a prevent defense.
Well, when you have a lead like this, the one thing you don't want to do is give the ball up deep. So, yeah, you may get a few yards here and there, but third down is where you got to make your money if you're Bowling Green, and you can't turn the ball over like you have in the past.
So Schultz out of the game. Hopgood comes in a lot of these situations to run the Wildcat. So here's Jordan Hopgood, who's going to take the direct snap. And he'll keep. And Hopgood will get close to first down yardage. Going to depend upon the stop here. Julian Miller and Juwan Snow on the stop defensively for the Mountaineers near the lead stick. And we'll see once again where the spot is going to be placed. And Hopgood is not getting up. He's going to take a seat now. Jordan Hopgood, the sophomore, listed as #1 in the depth chart, although we've seen predominantly Jamel Martin running the football in this game. And still no idea of whether that's a first down or not. Very close to that lead stick, which is at the 42-yard line, which is now going to have to whisk around that pile up here. And Hopgood to see if they can get the measurement.
Yeah, his leg got caught up. His left leg looked like he got caught up, and guys piled on. Just one downfall running the Wildcat. These guys are usually wide receivers, sometimes smaller running backs, and they can't take that pounding that normal guys do.
And it is just short of the first down. Hopgood, in fact, both was a wide receiver, converted to running back. And just inches, but Bowling Green's going to kick it away here.
Yeah, you don't want to go for it in this situation and don't get in, and West Virginia gets a short field, and the team is just deflated. So it's a smart move right here is to punt the ball.
Tavon Austin back deep, and Brian Smitterbush getting set to kick it away for the Falcons. There's a boot. High kick, and Austin going to call for the fair catch. He's going to take it at the 13-yard line, and the Mountaineers will have a long field to deal with, but they've dealt with plenty, and they continue to score up 45-10. West Virginia leading Bowling Green 45-10. The Mountaineers reeling off 6 consecutive touchdowns after falling behind 10-3. Going to take over at their own 13-yard line. And we are joined in the booth by, I don't know whether it's alumni, you get the quarterback weekend, your alumni weekend, you're a proud father, you're a fan, you're the athletic director, Oliver Luck, you're all those things. It's a busy weekend for you, a lot of hats.
It has been. It has been a really busy weekend. We've had all these quarterbacks come back. We've honored Don Nealon, as you guys know very well, and raised a bunch of money to endow a couple of scholarships in Don's name. Don's so fired up because his grandson's doing well, catching a touchdown pass. So it's been a great weekend.
Sort of all in the family. He's got his grandson. Obviously, you have your son playing terrific football as well.
Well, thank you. They're playing tonight against UCLA, 10:30 East Coast time.
There's Garrison trying that left side, and it's going to be a short gain this time. He's going to get out to the 22, a yard short. Bowling Green thinks they have it, but they do not, as Charlie Walker makes the stop for the Falcons.
Now, Oliver, can you explain the whole thing with the quarterbacks this weekend? I think it was a great event. A lot of fans seem to like it. How did that come about?
Well, I tell you, it came from a buddy of mine that I played with at the Oilers, Gifford Nielsen, the great BYU quarterback. When they wanted to honor Lavelle Edwards at BYU, they brought back all of their All-American quarterbacks, and Jim McMahon and Ty Detmer and Steve Young and all these players. And I kind of like that idea. They raised a bunch of money for some scholarships for Coach Edwards, and we basically took the idea and said we're going to roll it out here because we've had, as I think both of you would admit, some pretty good quarterbacks over the years when you consider, Jeff Hostetler and Mark Bolger and Major Harris and Pat White. Probably the best of us all was Pat White. So all these guys came back. We raised a bunch of money, and it was just a fun event.
Sean Alston picks up the first down. There's that guy taken in the second round by the Oilers. Oh, Oliver Luck, yeah. He was a pretty nice player as well. What do you look back when you think about you've got the AD hat on now, but when you think back at your college career.
I wished I could play an offense like this. That's what I think about. Don would allow us to throw the ball 15, 20 times a game, right? So Dana, as you guys know, likes to put the ball up a lot. So we're all talking about how much we'd like to be a quarterback in this era as opposed to back in the 70s or 80s.
Now, when you took over as AD, is that one of the things you wanted to focus on, is bringing a lot of the former players back with program, just like the quarterback weekend? And I've been down here a few times with alumni. We seem like you guys are doing a lot more with the former players.
I think the most important asset that any major college football program has is its alumni, its former players, because they can help you recruit. They built the program. Certainly in our case, the guys built this program. So we're really looking to do as many things as we can to bring as many guys back and just have them engaged, because they're really sort of the stakeholders for any major college football program.
Another 9-yard run here by Dustin Garrison, continuing to pile up the yardage, closing in on some historical markers in West Virginia history. Mentioned already has the first half rushing record for West Virginia, and a first down pitch out into the flat is Willie Millhouse on the reception there.
Yeah, all of our offensive records are completely under assault with Dana Holgorsen. I told the guys upstairs, including Bolger, who holds most of the packs, I said, Mark, forget about it. You're going to be down the list after Gino gets done, and the longer Dana coaches here, the more records we'll see get broken by all the offensive players.
Now, how do you think Dana's doing in his first year as the head coach?
I think he's doing well. I think he's doing pretty well. I think he's one of the smartest coaches offensively. Of course, he had the good sense of keeping Jeff Castile on the defensive side of the ball. Those guys are doing a very good job. We've got some things that we need to improve on. We don't have much depth, and that's true of a lot of college. In fact, that's probably true of our programs over the years. We've never had real depth. So I'd give him right now an A for the work he's been doing.
Now, you had the big game with LSU last weekend, and you got to see your program against one of the better programs in the country, and you talked about the depth. Is that probably where the difference is in a big game like that last week?
I think it is. I mean, you look at a school like LSU, and they can roll in an entire 7-man front. They can keep them fresh. They got big guys across the board. They just have more depth than we do. I think our first team players can hang with most of the SEC schools or Big 12 schools for that matter, but I think the difference really is depth.
Sean Alston, a nice run there. Dustin Garrison is checked back into the football game. You mentioned the recruiting advantage that the alumni coming back, and the fans love to see those guys coming back. I would think just this style of play is a good recruiting tool as well. When kids go out and think, boy, this looks like it would be a fun offense to play in.
I believe that the way kids grow up today, different than in our era. I mean, they want to see pinball football. They play the video games. They go online all the time. They compare their stats. So this, to me, is the wave of the future. And the ironic thing is, like when I watch my son play at Stanford, they have an eye set, 3 tight ends. They shrink the field and still score a lot of points and win games. But I really do believe that this wide open spread, throw the ball 60 times a game, gain 600-700 yards a game. I really do believe it's the future, and I think it makes it easier to recruit certainly skilled players, but I think linemen as well.
And it has to help to have a guy like Gino out there with Dana coming in and putting this new offense in a veteran type of player that studies as hard as Gino does.
He's a good quarterback. He's very accurate. He's smart. He has a great pocket presence. Not a great athlete. Doesn't like to run. Doesn't have the real quickness. But I think he's one of the best quarterbacks around as I watch him.
And this went out on the flat, and the late whistle signifies that it was not a lateral. Maybe for a moment you thought that might have been behind a backward pass here to Dustin Garrison, but falls incomplete, and it's going to bring up a 4th down.
Now, Oliver, where do you see this program going? What things do you want to work on going forward here? You've been here for not a long time, but you've done some good things. Where do you see the things going?
Well, I want to see our program be relevant at a national level. We've always had a solid program, and doesn't mean we're not going to be playing football in the Big East in the near future. But I want us to be considered to be one of the top 10, top 15 programs around the country, year in, year out. Exciting to watch, good fan base. That's I think our goal, because we haven't won a national championship in football, and ultimately that's what we want to do. I think we're the winningest program in D1 football that hasn't won a national title. And I would argue that should be our primary goal. And easier said than done, of course, because there's some great programs out there. But I think with the coaching staff we have now, and with the legacy and the history here, we should be able to get make a good run at that goal.
Bittencourt with the 45-yard field goal, now 48-10. West Virginia. We're spending time with Oliver Luck, the athletic director at West Virginia University, who's been kind enough to join us. And you talked about the Big East and moving forward, and right now, I mean, the athletic director job always challenging. You have to be worried about fundraising and academic standards and all kinds of other things. And now you happen to be here when this seismic shift is happening in college athletics, and I'm sure that represents a huge challenge.
Well, I'll tell you, every athletic director who's not in one of the, not in the SEC or the ACC or the Big Ten or in the Pac-12, I think is really worried, because there's lots of movement. There's a ton of moving parts. It's almost like a chess game. So we're all a little bit concerned. I think certainly those of us that are in the Big East are concerned. We've had some very good Big East years with football programs. If you think back to when Rich Rodriguez was here and Bobby Petrino was at Louisville and Brian Kelly at Cincinnati, we had teams in the top 5, top 8, top 10. We've slipped a little bit, but I really firmly believe we can get back up there and be a conference every bit as good as the ACC or even the Pac-12 for that matter.
Woo Gates with the return out across the 30-yard line out to about the 31-yard line. What other factors go into that? What is behind, other than, people talk about money, and it seems to be that the football programs are driving this. What other things does an athletic director have to consider, along with the president and the chancellor and others for the school? It goes beyond, I would think, just what conference you're playing football in.
Well, I still think that there should be some regionality, if that's a word. Our natural rivals are Maryland and Virginia Tech and UVA and Pitt and Penn State. They're bus trips, right? They're 2, 3, 4-hour bus trips. Our fans can go to those games. Their fans can come up here. And I think ultimately it's kind of a shame if you find yourselves having to take a charter flight for every road game. It makes it difficult for fans to go. It makes it hard for parents to go watch their kids play. And as a parent of a college football player, I'm on a plane every other weekend going out to California. I'm not going to drive out there, but I think there should be some consideration given to regional relationships and regional rivalries.
Now, to me, West Virginia is strong enough to lead the charge for the Big East if it was to stay together. Great tradition, great fan support. Are there other teams that want to come in here and, along with West Virginia, and lead this conference back to prominence?
I think there are. I think, having the AQ status is hugely important. And, let's be honest, the reason TCU wants to be in this league so badly is that they think it's an easier path to the national championship than going through Norman, Oklahoma, or Austin, Texas, or Stillwater, Oklahoma, and playing some of their regional schools out there. So we've got some quality schools that are very interested in getting involved, including both Air Force and Navy. No secret there. And I think both those institutions are academically excellent. Very important nationally, and also I think we'd all agree they played some pretty good football. In fact, I would trade Air Force or Navy for Syracuse any day of the week in terms of the quality of the football program. No disrespect, but that's just an observation. I think most folks would agree with and understand football.
Schultz back on a 3rd and long, going to complete to Kamar Jordan. So first downs have been hard to come by for the Falcons, but able to get that one out to the 46-yard line.
Now, you brought up the basketball part of it. What about the basketball in this whole shift with Pitt and Syracuse leading a big part of the Big East basketball?
Yeah, Syracuse has a great program, as has Pitt. Jamie Dixon's a heck of a basketball coach. And a lot of people think that the ACC's decision to get Pitt and Syracuse was really all about basketball, that the ACC was sort of embarrassed at how strong the Big East had become in basketball. We lose 2 good basketball schools, no question about that. Although we'll still play Pitt, Okay. So as a WVU fan, I can tell you that we'll still play Pitt most likely in football every year and most likely in basketball every year. So we don't really lose them. Syracuse doesn't mean a lot to our fan base, as you know, John, from playing here. Nobody shows up to watch Syracuse because they've been down in football. Basketball, Syracuse has had a good program, and we'll miss that game every other year in the Coliseum.
And that's good news for it. I live just up the road, Oliver, in Pittsburgh, and so that's good news because the fans up there, this rivalry is one of the great rivalries in the country. People that maybe aren't from our neck of the woods here don't understand just how close these campuses are. That Pitt and West Virginia is a lot closer, for example, than Pitt and Penn State, driving-wise for the fans, and the rivalry has become a tremendous rivalry.
We've played over 100 times in football. I've not had any discussions with the Pitt folks. I've kind of let them be. quite honestly, after all the activity. But my sense is that they'll be very interested in maintaining the football rivalry with us. When we bring 25,000 fans to Heinz Field, we fill it up. And Pitt is not filling up Heinz Field, on their own. So I think that game really, from a financial perspective, is pretty important to them.
Third down. Schultz back to pass. Going to throw underneath to Hopgood, and Hopgood trying to race for the lead stick, and it looks like he might have enough for the first down.
Looked like Bruce Irvin had a good rush going and tried to counter inside and slipped, and the rain is having a little bit of effect on the pass rushers as well.
I'm sure, just to ask you about your son again, I'm sure a proud dad and trying to keep an eye on obviously what's going on here and a unique challenge, trying to keep up with what's going on there as well. And you must be extremely proud of what he's been able to do.
Well, they've got it's a great academic school out there. They've had a good football run, first with Jim Harbaugh. He turned the program around, and then with David Shaw, who replaced Coach Harbaugh. And, I'm just happy as a dad that he's doing well, that he's enjoying it, that he's doing well academically. He's on schedule to graduate, with a degree from the School of Engineering out there at Stanford. So it's a nice place.
Boy, talk about your workload. School of Engineering at Stanford. That's taking some doing, huh?
It's they recruit nationally. They really do. One of the few schools, maybe besides the academies, that do that. And they're able to kind of pick off the kids that really have great GPA, SAT, you name it. They take some pretty rigorous academic course loads out there.
Oliver Luck, the athletic director at West Virginia, thank you very much for spending time with us, and good luck the rest of the season to both your program and, of course, your son as well.
Thanks very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
First down for Bowling Green as they are putting together a nice drive here towards the end of this third quarter. Oliver Luck, young, he's risen to a high rank here at West Virginia University. Of course, was a great player, was not only collegiately, but was selected in the second round by the Oilers, and went on to play in the NFL for several years. Obviously an extremely bright man as well, and again, a very busy weekend for him. He's got his son playing, he's got his team playing, he's also, oh my goodness, Ray Hudson was wide open and dropped it right in his hands. Has the lone touchdown earlier in the game for Bowling Green, and right in his hands, and Hudson dropped it.
Yeah, he's a little too wide open there and started to think about the catch a little too much, and that probably make that play 99 out of 100 times, and this is the one time he dropped it.
One more look in and out of the hands, just nobody around.
It's a great play call. We'll probably come back to it here in a while, but I think the Mountaineers have seen it, and they'll cover it a little differently next time.
2nd and 10. Hand off to Martin. Martin off the left side, going to cross the 30 and get down to about the 28-yard line before Julian Miller makes the tackle. And, it is a busy time for Oliver Luck, athletic director, with everything that's going on right now. You're trying to run a program. He's obviously got a son out there at Stanford who's doing a great job. And then, this weekend he gets to kind of maybe step back with some of his old pals and be an alumni. And so I'm sure a nice weekend for him, and of course grateful that he joined us here as well.
Yeah, tough time for him, and the conference realignment, and I think people were probably scared that West Virginia would leave the Big East, and that's why all the other moves happened. But yeah, he has his plate full now.
3rd and 5. Handoff, and Martin will rip through the defense, cross the 20, and get down to the 19-yard line before Najee Good makes a stop. So Martin's big day continues, a coming out party for the redshirt freshman on the final play of the third quarter. And Martin has Bowling Green on the move, but West Virginia has been dominant. They are leading 48-10. They have scored 45 consecutive points as we head to the fourth quarter. Castillo's team, his defensive team here for West Virginia, has been outstanding since letting up 10 early points, and I'm sure he would like to see Bowling Green remain off the board the rest of the way, but the Falcons on the drive here as we begin the fourth quarter. They're inside the 20-yard line, a 1st and 10 for the Falcons offense.
And you see them run, still keeping with their run game. Bowling Green's not giving up on the run. And they know that the Mountaineers are pinning their ears back trying to get sacks. And so the run may be the safest thing to do at this point in the game.
Juwan Snow with a stop. Martin now 20 carries, 112 yards. So the redshirt freshman really turning in an excellent performance, just overshadowed by what's happening on the other side with Garrison at 260 rushing yards for the Mountaineers.
And that's one of the things that defensive coordinator for the Mountaineers, Jeff Castile, wanted to work on, was the run game and get that run average down around 3.0 yards per rush. And, you know, some of the runs are skewed, third down runs that you give up, not giving up the big play. But, you know, it's a good day for the Mountaineers defense so far.
Second down. Empty set now for Schultz. Schultz surveying and now looks to run, and he's going to be dropped by Julian Miller. So another sack for the Mountaineers.
And a lot of the things that the Mountaineers didn't have coming into this game, like the interceptions, now they have a few interceptions, the sacks, they're getting pressure. Good job by Julian Miller, just staying active. He tried the outside rush, it didn't work. He came underneath, kept his hands active, and finished it off strong. Just one sack for the Mountaineers coming in. They have 3 now with that sack by Miller. Yeah, and he's been bothered by a high ankle sprain, and he sort of came back a little too early. So it's good for him that he's playing a little better now than he was earlier in the season when he was injured.
3rd and 11. Schultz changing the play. Mountaineers bringing pressure. Schultz on the move, looking downfield, and he's going to complete down around the 10-yard line. Going to be just short, it appears, of first down yardage as he finds his tight end, Alex Baer.
And that was a good throw by Schultz, something that when we watched tape coming in, he did this very well. Today he threw some poor balls at this point, but very accurate throw right there, giving his team a chance to get the first down.
Big hit kind of coming late and out of bounds. No flag, though, so the officials evidently no complaints with that hit. So Bowling Green now on the 4th down. They've kept their offense out there.
You know, no choice right here but to go for it. You're down big, and your run game is working, so maybe they'll come with a power run.
And we saw Hopgood in a similar situation here coming out of the Wildcat. Instead, they say in their base offense to give off the right side, and a big tackle from the backside by Josh Taylor, going to be very close. Looks like they're going to give him the 9-yard line. If they do, that will be a first down.
Yeah, and this was pretty good patience by the running back, allowing his offensive line to stretch the defensive lineman out, and he picked his hole, put his foot in the ground, and got the first down.
Well, so they are going to say at the 9-yard line, it is a first down for Bowling Green. So 1st and goal to go for the Falcons.
And they're still working their offense, working their run game. They know they're not going to come back and win this, but now this is eating up the clock so the score doesn't get way out of hand, and they're getting ready for their league play as well, as the Mountaineers are too.
And Dave Clausen, as the handoff here goes to Martin. Martin looking for some room, and he's going to be bounced by Juwan Snow again. So Snow coming in, getting the start. Doug Rigg injured, and so they moved Najee Good from inside linebacker to outside and put Snow at that middle linebacker position, and he's had a nice game for the Mountaineers.
Yeah, and Good played that position last year, so he's used to it, and it looks like the Mountaineers, they started playing better today, at least against the run, even though Bowling Green has gotten some yards, but they're getting bigger hits, and you know, at least down the stretch today, they're playing pretty good.
In the home of the Football Hall of Fame, Canton, Ohio. And say Dave Clausen now can say, look, this is what our offense can do if we don't have the turnovers. And the turnovers have been a big part of this game for the Falcons.
Yeah, and turnovers will kill you. I don't care who you're playing against, and today has really hurt.
Play action pass and completion out in the flat to Hudson, who makes a nice grab inside the 5. Down to the 3-yard line is where they're going to mark it.
And this is good for the Mountaineers, too, to see if they can hold these guys out of the end zone. Bowling Green wants to get in the end zone so they can go into next week feeling confident. But 2 good units going at each other right now.
This Bowling Green offense came in averaging 38.5 points a game, and now have put together a 15-play drive. This is going to be the 15th play of this drive. Not scored since early in the first quarter. Schultz will turn around. Get the call. Pitch to Martin. Well defended. Martin nowhere to go as if Bruce Irvin stayed at home and made the stop. So they're trying to get him on the misdirection, see if they could take advantage of his aggressiveness, but Irvin did a nice job staying home here.
Yeah, like you said, he stayed at home, and this is probably, you probably want to run that play to the other side. Bruce Irvin's very athletic. He can put his foot in the ground and redirect well, so you don't want to run that flip play on him, but he did a great job of just staying home and reading his keys.
So on a 4th and goal, they're going to go for it here. Schultz will drop back into the shotgun. Has Martin to his right. Schultz back, pressure from the backside, and he is stripped back there and taken down. Ball is loose, and it is recovered by Cook. Didn't much matter because once Julian Miller got in there on the hit and got him to the ground, that was going to be it on the 4th down play. But officially the turnover for the Mountaineers is their 5th as Irvin and Miller meeting at the quarterback. So the Mountaineers able to come up with a stand on 4th down. And they lead by a score of 48-10. The West Virginia Mountaineers, ranked number 22 in the country, have gotten a great game from freshman Dustin Garrison.
Yeah, and this couldn't come at a better time with the weather conditions today, making it hard to throw the ball. West Virginia needing to work on their run game, and they got a strong game out of the young guy Garrison, showing some of the moves he probably had in high school, and I'm happy for him because they just said that he wasn't highly recruited, coming out here with a big game today.
A Big East, or a West Virginia freshman rushing record, and also a West Virginia record for rushing yards in the first half as Paul Millard goes deep and he hits Stedman Bailey. So Paul Millard checks into the game, and on the first play goes deep to Stedman Bailey.
And that play right there was set up by the strong running game so far, and people may question how they're running. This is not sticking in Bowling Green's faces because the run has hurt them more than the pass all day. So running the ball may have been worse for Bowling Green.
Not only that, we don't know if we checked off at the line of scrimmage. I mean, you got to let the young men play at this stage of the game as well. If he comes up and he's been coached to check out of a certain play, then he's got to check out of a certain play, right?
Definitely, and you need to see your backup quarterback. Geno Smith is such a great quarterback for Dana Holgerson. If something would happen to him, you need your backup to be able to come in and play and make those throws.
Pitch out to Garrison again. Garrison looking to add on to those 260 yards that he's gotten. Give him 8 more, maybe 9 in that run. And Garrison continuing as Gabe Martin makes the stop.
And as he did earlier in the game, taking the ball out to the numbers, cutting it back, letting his offensive lineman set the blocks up for him.
And think about this. With that rush, West Virginia now has 311 yards rushing in this game. And John came into this game with 306 rushing yards on the season. So they've eclipsed their entire season total so far, and we still have over 9 minutes remaining in this 4th quarter.
Yes, this has been a good day for the offensive line, finally getting to run the ball with consistency and not having to pass block every play. And that's difficult for an offensive line, to have other teams know you're going to pass and have to block those guys. And these guys are just really getting Bowling Green tired.
And Garrison, and again, we talked about this at the beginning of the game. John, this is one of your keys to the game. West Virginia needed to find a way to get that running game going. I would say mission accomplished on that.
Yes, it is. And that's not only big for today, but it's big to get other teams seeing this. So now the passing game can open up.
And Millard going for Nealon and just overthrew him. And Millard, a very strong arm, the freshman from Texas. Flower Mound, Texas.
He just missed his throw. Looked like Nealon was open a little bit. He threw it a little too far to the left.
And brings up a 2nd and 10. Clock stops. 8:27 remaining here in this 4th quarter.
And the Mountaineers have to get ready for the Big East. You saw Pitt have a big win over South Florida. Cincinnati is playing well. So he now is winning the Big East.
Garrison, a huge hole over the left side. Cuts it to the outside. Squares the shoulders. Lost the football, but it went out of bounds. So give Garrison another 15 yards or 14 yards. I guess they're going to mark it out at the 8-yard line. Devon McCoy came up and made the hit. And Garrison's huge afternoon continuing.
And these are the kind of days you're going to need to have when the weather turns bad up here in this part of the country. That offense, throwing it around is nice when the weather is good, but you start to play these teams in the cold weather cities, you're going to have to run the ball.
Yeah, there are days when it's windy, it's cold, it's wet. You just simply can't throw the football on days like that. So that's part of Northeastern football. And Dustin Garrison turning in a huge performance. Here's Alston now off the right side. Alston cuts back up the middle. Alston will get into the end zone. His 2nd rushing touchdown of the game. Sean Alston adding to the rushing total for the Mountaineers.
And all of these backs now, it seems to be contagious that they're running a lot more patient than they were earlier in the season, and they see one guy do it and the next guy wants some, and he's going to come in and get it too. So Dana has to be happy with this.
And the Bowling Green defense looking weary, trying to bring down Sean Alston there. Bittencourt's going to try to make it 55-10 here on the extra point attempt. And his boot is up, and it is good, and the lead is 55-10. West Virginia losing at home to #2 LSU last week. They are coming out with a vengeance today. They lead 55-10 in the fourth. Non-stop. They were trailing 10-3, and Sean Alston happy as he capped off that 6-play, 84-yard drive with his second touchdown of the game, an 8-yard TD run, as West Virginia has reeled off 52 unanswered points. John, it has been an offensive juggernaut, and you give credit to the defense as well, as they've kept this high-powered Bowling Green team off the scoreboard.
Yes, I thought the Mountaineer defense did a great job getting turnovers and giving the ball back to the offense, who looked to, they found their groove today in the running game.
Heath Jackson forced out of bounds after the short kickoff return.
Heath Jackson on the return.
Avery Williams on the stop for the Mountaineers.
You have to feel bad for Coach Clausen. He watched last week's game, and the Mountaineers threw the ball about 65 times, and so he probably practiced all week saying we got to stop this passing game. And bad weather, the Mountaineers come out and run the ball.
And the offensive, the Falcons is going to make a switch as well at the quarterback position. Trent Hurley, another guy from just up the road here in Pittsburgh.
And Coach Clausen said he likes all three of his quarterbacks, so just getting him some time here in a game that's out of hand and is out of reach.
Hurley went to Connellsville High School. Now the handoff off the left side, and it's going to be a short pickup. And Hurley, by the way, he said that, Schultz came in with tremendous numbers, leading the nation in touchdown passes, as we talked about. And he said this battle was close between Hurley and Schultz as to who was going to be his starting quarterback. As we take a look first at the upcoming schedule for West Virginia, and maybe you're pointing towards the end of that schedule there, with the Pitt Panthers coming up on the 25th, followed by the game against South Florida. If West Virginia can take care of business, they should be favored in every one of those games, certainly at least up to the Panthers game.
Yeah, I mean, this division is still tough. Guys playing against each other, they know each other. The winner of this division gets a BCS game, so that's still a lot to play for. And Cincinnati playing well, Pittsburgh playing well, South Florida slipped up, but they played well earlier in the season, so it's going to be a tough road for everybody.
That was Enrique Geiger, and Jared Barber comes up to make the stop defensively for the Mountaineers. He's going to break up a 3rd and long for the Falcons.
Jeff Castile wanted to see his backups play better to sort of build that depth going into the Big East. So it's good to see these guys get some playing time. The Mountaineers extend the lead and get the younger guys in the game.
So both coaches have substituted liberally at this point of the game. Hurley lost the handle, ball on the ground, and let's see who came up with it. They're going to signal 4th down, so Hurley recovers his own fumble, and the punt unit will come on here for the Falcons.
You want to finish the game strong if you're Bowling Green, and now you put your defense back out on the field, giving the Mountaineers offense more time to work on their run game. So hopefully these guys just put up a fight towards the end. They played well, but they were just a little outmatched today by West Virginia.
Schmitterbush comes in to kick it away, and Austin and Brown remain deep for West Virginia. And make sure they get this special teams units ironed out a little bit.
Yeah, both sides have had good times here on special teams today, and then bad.
Oh, that was a long kick by Schmitterbush. It's taken by Austin at the 25. Looking for some room. Now going to cut back to the outside. He'll try to dance around, and is going to be wrestled down as he crosses the 35 to the 37, where West Virginia will get the ball one more time as they have rebounded from the loss to LSU, up 45 here at home. Band tooting away here to the very end. Joined by some alumni out on the field before the game. Big weekend here at Mountaineer Field in West Virginia as Paul Millard gets set to take the snap, gives to Bernard Roberts, and Roberts off the right side will pick up about 4 yards. So Bernard Roberts has not seen a whole lot of action in this game. In fact, that was his first carry, as Dustin Garrison. And Bernard Roberts, a fellow freshman. Dustin Garrison, a huge story here for the Mountaineers. And for a team that had been rotating backs, Andrew Bowie looked like he was, John, at this stage, kind of the guy. They're still listing Bernard Roberts as the starter at that tailback position. Sean Alston is getting more carries, but maybe Dana Holgorsen has found his guy in Dustin Garrison.
Yeah, I know all of those freshman running back probably are happy for Garrison, but not happy for their playing time now.
Nice run there by Roberts as he gets out to midfield. Rylan Ward with his stop there. You talked about the patience necessary at the collegiate level, and some of these guys, all of them young guys here, having to make adjustments to be able to run successfully. What does a back need to do? I guess maybe they're used to being the biggest, strongest, fastest guys in the field. Now they have to make some adjustments.
Yeah, I mean, at high school level, you can just take the ball and run as fast as you can, and you're going to outrun most guys. But here, you have to allow the offensive line to get their blocks. You have to set it up as a running back. And if there's a hole, you got to be patient to make sure you see where the hole is. And earlier in the season, the Mountaineer running backs were just running hard and not running smart.
Here's Roberts. He'll cut back and then move back to the left again and pick up another 5 yards. And a lot of times it seems like you'll see a young back maybe break through the first level and then immediately cut to the outside. Running sideways at the collegiate level doesn't work nearly as well as it did at the high school level.
Yeah, you just have to have good patience, and that's all. You see a lot of these guys. These guys all have pretty good speed and good shakes, but you got to put it all together and tie that up with your offensive linemen because they have to block the big guys on the other side.
Millard remaining in the quarterback position on the 2nd and 5. Gives to Alston. And Alston looking for some room, and Alston getting some help from his friends, and will get down to the 41-yard line and be just short of a first down.
The Mountaineers, I'm sure, want to pick up this first down and pretty much ice the game. And I think it was a good day for West Virginia. Dana Holgorsen got to see another dimension of his offense now. He has more teaching tape, and guys can believe that the running game does work, and they don't have to throw it 65 times a game.
3rd and 1. Millard looks to throw, and it is low, and it is away from his intended receiver, Brad Starks. Incomplete, brings up the 4th down. And one other thing, too, I would think, following last week, as the Mountaineers have set a new record for total yards at Mountaineer Field, John, 647 yards in this game. What an incredible offensive output.
Yeah, just like Oliver Luck said, most of the offensive numbers will, the records will get shattered now that Dana's here because Don Nealon was an old school coach, I formation. He ran the option with Major Harris and those guys, and now Dana's just going to kill all of those records.
And Alston going to be trapped in the backfield, dropped for a loss, so he will not pick up the first down, as it was Jarris Campbell who came up and made the stop, and so the Falcons will take over on downs.
And that was a good stop for Bowling Green, finishing the game strong defensively. Maybe that helps carry it over to the next game for them, and as they continue league play, and not a good series for the Mountaineers, not finishing out the game with a first down.
Well, you and I were talking about this during the break, John, that this Mountaineers offensive line has got to, be rolling into Big East Conference play. This is their final non-conference game of the year with a tremendous amount of confidence. I mean, first last week against LSU, you mentioned, you drop back 65 times against that vaunted defense and don't give up a sack. And this week you turn around, you go from the passing game to the running game and able to run virtually at will against Bowling Green today. That's back-to-back good weeks with this offensive line.
Yeah, and they didn't play well to start the season. I thought they got manhandled by the Marshall defensive line. They played okay. They didn't play great in the first half against Norfolk State, the game that we saw. And they finished up, and they're getting better and better. Last week they pass blocked well. This week they run block. The run blocking was really good. So going into league play, the offensive line looks like they're ready to go.
Trent Hurley remains in at quarterback for the Falcons. 2nd and 6. Give to Geiger, and Geiger bottled up right at the line of scrimmage by Trevor Demko on the stop for the Mountaineers.
It's a good job by Trevor blocking the offensive lineman out and getting off of that block and making a tackle himself.
So it'll bring up a 3rd down. The West Virginia faithful here remaining, and they're seeing these guys having a good time along the sidelines. So always fun when your team romps to an easy victory. As we mentioned, the last non-conference game for the Mountaineers, all Big East Conference from here on out to the end of the regular season.
One thing we really haven't talked about a lot is, today is homecoming. They had the big atmosphere last week that sort of took away from it, but you know, today is like a celebration here at school. A lot of former players and alumni of the school all around here, and it's always good when you can win your homecoming game and guys can go out and have a good time afterwards.
Demko and Petaway make the stop there on Geiger's run, and it's going to bring up a 4th down. So whether they bother to kick it away or they'll just run it one more time. Yep, looks like they're going to send out the kicking unit. As a player, was homecoming weekend big? Did you realize what was going on around you? You just had that kind of that tunnel vision going into a game, whether it was homecoming or not.
You knew it was a big game when you started to see the former players come in and the coaches get excited to see their former players and extra people on the sideline. But I think this year was sort of toned down a bit because of what happened last weekend. A lot of people came in, a lot of former players came in to see LSU and West Virginia go at it.
And this kick is going to roll into the end zone. Almost a good job of downing that. By the way, West Virginia will now improve to 48-31-3 all time in homecoming games, in case you were interested.
And they lost last year to Syracuse, who Oliver Luck really wasn't fond of in that interview that we had.
Yes, that was a shocking loss, too.
Yeah, so they had some West Virginia had some bad losses within the conference last year, and looks like they're ready to go and had a good game. Slow start, but finished up strong, and looks like they're ready for Big East play.
Going to take the victory formation here. Rare you see the victory formation out of the shotgun, but that's how West Virginia runs their offense. So Millard will come up, he'll take a knee, and that will be the final play of the game. And Dana Holgorsen has found something that other West Virginia opponents are going to have to be concerned about that they had not had prior to this game, and that is a running attack. Dustin Garrison running wild. The 115th ranked rushing offense in the country coming into this game as he and Dave Clawson congratulate each other. The defense doing a good job keeping a high-powered Bowling Green offense off the scoreboard for the most part after those 10 early points, and then finding that rushing attack, John, going to be very, very important for West Virginia from here on out. And also, again, something for other teams now to be concerned about. It's not just going to be Geno Smith in that passing attack.
Yes, and it gives the offensive line confidence. It gives the offense as a whole confidence, because now it's an added dimension. Dana can open up the playbook now, and I'm sure that the passing game will benefit for the strong running game that they had today.
So the 22nd ranked West Virginia Mountaineers, they lost a week ago to LSU. They come back on homecoming weekend and issue a statement to the rest of the Big East Conference, throwing the ball and running the ball as well. An impressive game for the Mountaineers. For John Thornton, I'm Rob King. Thanks very much for joining us. Again, your final score, number 22 West Virginia, 55, Bowling Green 10.